Good evening and welcome everybody to Monday Night Motorsport at the GSRC. We start, as always, on a Monday night with the Super 2 and Super 3 sharing a track before we move on over to Suzuka for the GT3s. But we'll start in Portugal at the incredible Portimão circuit. This circuit is an absolute roller coaster. If you are not familiar with it because you are not a MotoGP fan or you did not watch the COVID affected F1 season, please familiarize yourselves with this track. It is one of the best tracks in the world. Absolutely fantastic. That long final corner is a real memorable moment on the MotoGP calendar. Here are the track conditions for tonight. We start with a track temperature of 36 degrees, which is pretty warm, so you'll be lacking a little bit of grip out there. Air temperature is only 22 degrees though, so we might see that track temperature just come down a little bit at some point during the race. 11 kilometers an hour wind, that's not very strong at all. That's enough to just lightly ruffle the leaves in the trees. No swaying though, so it won't be enough to really affect the handling of these big behemoths that we are going to be racing here tonight. Not that they look like big behemoths on this track, because this track is so wide that it's actually the proper width for supercars. Here are the championship standings after 6 rounds. It's round 7, right? As you can see, this is the lower end of the Super 2 standings. Few notable names down there, but this is what we want to look at, the top of the standings. Steven Varga leads, but by only 6 points over Jaden Green, with Greg Favell in close company in third on 250 points. Those three have broken away from the rest of the pack. You suspect the title will be one of those three. Jake Slade leads the second pack with Mark Horton behind him. Then Angus Lawford, Tim Nicole, Alan Gill, Damien Cairns and Kurt Chapman in the top 10. Then there are a few drivers threatening that top 10, including Trent Allen, Jason Spriggs and Sean Van der Meulen. Of course, it's on Super 2 tonight. We also have the Super 3, and these are the standings in that championship. Daniel Sneddon has a healthy lead of 22 points. He himself, Marco Monora, is in second place, and he's got 20 points over Greg Spencer. Then it is Liam Amos and Furlan 206. Then we have Wayne Visser, followed by Tim Fuge, Aidan Schultz and David Lawler, Christopher Tomlin, Aaron Bryan in the top 10, with Phil King, Lee Mills, and Colin Bennett looking to threaten that top 10, and everybody else looking like they might be out of contention unless they get a surprise result, which would not rule out, because we've seen lots of crashes and we've seen lots of great racing in this, and there are plenty of drivers down there that can put together a good result when the stars align. This is your grid for the race tonight. Damien Cairns starts on pole with Greg Favell alongside him. Then on the second row is Jason Spriggs and Angus Lawford. On the third row is Trent Allen and Jack Humphreys, with Sean van der Meulen and Jaden Green behind them. Then at the back of the top 10 is Mick Clifton and Stephen Varga, your championship leader. In 11th place is Jake Slade, and alongside him, Kurt Chapman. Then it is Brandon Griffiths and Ryan Tegel. Then Sam Stride and Daniel Snedden takes pole position for the Super 3. He's got Wayne Vasseur in second in the Super 3 behind him, then Michael Schroeder, Nick Wood and Graham Bain. Then we see more of the Super 3 pack closer together on the grid here. Liam Amos in 21st, then it's Chris Stark, then Jared Gilbert and Mark McNamara behind them. Then it's David Lawler, Mikey Hammond well down, so he's not put together a representative lap. Then it's Dale Jeffries, Aidan Schultz, Harrison Stassinez, and Eduardo Zamora. Then we have Chris Tomlin, Colin Bennett, Tim Fuge, and Lorne Mackay at the back, and a few of those drivers, Zamora down, did not set times, so we do not know whether they're racing or if they're racing how out of position they may well be. So we've got a few cars that we can expect to see coming through the pack across the next 25 minutes.
So it's interesting. I think what's happened here is originally Starkey was going to have the chicane at turn 1, but after the Formula Vs were there, he saw how tight it was. He switched it to the regular GP track, and then iRacing has a feature where when you change the track, it reverts back to rolling starts without telling you. So Starkey's been called out with that one, so that's why we have the boys rolling around here behind the safety car.
Yeah, iRacing is the best multiplayer racing sim that we have, but it is by no means perfect, and these are the kind of things that just remind you that there is a lot of work to go on iRacing, but hopefully they will get some of those little quality of life bugs fixed, should we call it that? Particularly given that most racing is not started with a rolling start.
And no, Dunk, that's not your blind, that's an SDK issue. They've got the switch around the wrong way, so the track map's going anti-clockwise, which should be going clockwise. So that's just a little bit of a fun thing to watch.
Yeah, it gives you a background to how that actually works, that widget. But we've got racing on track, so let's talk about that. Big move there. Straight into third place for Jason Spriggs. Trent Allen tries to hold on around the outside. Well, he went off track to hold on to that position. It'll be interesting to see if Race Control think about that at all. Now, Jason Spriggs, it looks like he's under pressure from Trent Allen. Lorne Mackay going off the track in the background there. He's in 30th currently, right at the back of the field. Back up to Trent Allen because he's been involved with a few moves already, and they're going 3 wide. Oh, that's completely spun, and it's taken out 2 cars. So I believe that was Jason Spriggs, Angus Lawford, and Jack Humphreys involved. I believe Humphreys was the car that got taken out. There were 2 cars that actually spun in sequence rather than one being taken out. There's another car being taken out there as somebody trying to get back onto the track pelts them. I think that was Wayne Visser going for a spin. There's another car for the grass. Absolutely ahead to get the star here. You're very, very lucky you've managed to get through turn 1, lap 1 without any incident. And at the moment, Damien Cairns and Greg Favell have absolutely nailed it. They started first and second. They continue in first and second. And behind them, the next car is 2.5 seconds down the road, and it is Jaden Green in the Ford with Trent Allen behind him, then Sean van der Meulen. And this is basically the lead of the rest of the cars. The rest of the cars all in a big snake. It's just Cairns and Favell who've been able to get away. I think because of all that battling we saw, mostly focused around Trent Allen at the start of the race. What that's done is just allowed Cairns and Favell to drive cleanly. And as you can see, Cairns and Favell running the same colour scheme because they are squad mates. So they're not going to fight each other too hard when they know there is a race to be won. If they just break away from the rest of the pack for the first few laps and then leave their fighting until towards the end. Big movers on the first lap include Michael Schroeder. He's up 7 places from 18th to 11th. Mikey Hammond, we called him out when we were going for the grid. He's gone from 26th to 13th, overtaken half cars in front of him. At that pace, he'll be in the lead by the end of this lap. Don't think he's going to be able to repeat it though. Lord Mackay, biggest mover though, he's up 16 spots from 34th to 18th spot. which is absolutely incredible as we watch Jake Slade be the victim of a mugging, with Mick Clifton getting ahead of them in a little bump on the exit of the corner for good measure. Jake Slade looked like he's going to try and hold this around the outside. He's barely got any of his car alongside, but it is enough that he will be given space on the inside here, and now he's got the inside for the second part of the Portimão corner. Very, very difficult corner, and he's got through there beautifully, and what that's done is actually unsettled the car he was overtaking, and they've lost 2 positions. So Jake Slade instead of Kurt Chapman takes advantage, and Mick Clifton loses 2 spots in 1 corner. That might have been Portimão, so that might have been the earlier double right-hander. So watching Jason Spriggs, what's going to happen here? Whoa! I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to suggest that that pink car, Angus Lawford, I believe it might be, might not have been able to make that corner. Yeah, no, this is the instant we saw the first. So Angus Lawford goes absolutely piling in, and it's the other car there who's just reversing, losing it by himself. I think in shock at seeing what Angus Lawford was doing and panicking, not knowing, right, I can see there's an instant. How am I going to avoid this? And they were battling really, really hard there. Both got on the brakes late. And Jason Spriggs, the unlucky casualty in that incident. Able to start off continuing, but then he's going to hit another car here because somebody else gets spun in front of him. When it's not your night, it is not your night. Jason Spriggs, was he able to continue? I think, no, he hasn't been able to continue, and he has retired from the race as we watch Mick Clifton try to regain some of those positions that he's lost in the opening couple of laps. That looks like a really good, really controlled move there of the inside of Michael Schroeder, so that'll put Clifton back into 9th spot, and he's got Kurt Chapman ahead of him. Of course, we saw Kurt Chapman get past him at the complex last lap, but Clifton not able to return the favour on this lap as Stride puts in the fastest lap of the race. Stride in 12th spot at the moment. He won't be there for long if he keeps putting in 145.6s. That's not the fastest lap of the race. That graphic was a lie. I think some of the people doing faster laps must have got a 1x or something, because I've got on my screen at the best is actually a 144.2. So something's lying. Could be in my screen. Anyway, this is Mick Clifton, still watching him. And you can see he's got Michael Schroeder behind him. Seems to be falling into the clutches of Ryan Tegel. Schroeder was a couple of positions higher up a little earlier on, but just having a bit of a rough lap and going in the wrong direction as they go through the incredibly long final corner. And watching Damien Ken. So here you can see the body language of that car. Greg Favell behind Damien Kens. You can see he's actually genuinely trying to attack now, because he's getting onto slightly different lines rather than staying right in Damien Kens' wheel tracks. He's trying to make something happen, and he's doing that because they're no longer breaking away from Jaden Green. Jaden Green is only 1.5 seconds behind. Remember, they were 2.5 seconds ahead at the end of the first lap. So Favell evidently believes that he has got more pace than Damien Kens, and there he goes, making the move up the inside for the lead of this race. Has he got it done? I believe he has. Kens going to try and hang it on around the outside, because this becomes a double right-hander, and he's got a better run up the hill as well. So I think Kens definitely going to have the best line through here, but watch for the up and under from Favell. No, not able to get it done there. So Kens retains the lead. Favell's in second, and what these two battling has done has brought Jaden Green right into it. He was 1.5 seconds behind when I started talking. He is now 0.7, so he has halved that deficit. It's just in 3 corners of them battling as we watch Sam Stride trying to get up alongside Ryan Tegel. Not able to do so. Ryan Tegel retains 10th spot. Sam Stride definitely looking more aggressive on Tegel. It's interesting because these guys have fallen 3 seconds behind Mick Clifton, who looked like he was under pressure from Ryan Tegel not long ago. So I think Tegel must have made a mistake somewhere, perhaps something that Sam Stride's not been able to get around, because the two of them just absolutely fallen off the back of the rest of the top 10. As we cut to Greg Favell, this will be moved done. Much better run into the final straight, which you can do because it's such a long final corner. They can get really different acceleration points and carry different speeds through that corner, so you can really make something happen onto that long start finish straight, and then you get the advantage of the slipstream. So Greg Favell getting ahead there. Damien Kearns in second. Jaden Green well in this battle. Now look at it. Nice to see a car with a different livery up there, and a Ford mixing it and getting into the ring with the 2 Hollands that have been dominating this race. 5 of the top 7 cars being Hollands, only 2 Fords, and they are Jaden Green and Trent Allen in 4th spot, who Leif McCloman is a fan of and is cheering him on. I imagine they will be teammates of some description. Good to have you with us, Leif, watching, and thank you very much to anybody who is watching. It's always lovely to put on these broadcasts for you and to have some company while we do so, as we watch Kurt Chapman trying to get past Mick Clifton. Somehow Clifton's back up in 8th. I swear he was down in 10th at one spot. So Mick Clifton going up and down a bit like a yo-yo. So I wonder if he's... I see that he's not assigned to Open or Elite Split at the moment. That's why he's got a grey 8. So I do wonder whether it's a little bit of inconsistency, maybe not as used to these cars as some other cars, or whether it's just the normal fluctuations of a motor race. As we watch Colin Bennett late. So recognises he's late on the brakes, realises he's gonna have to take avoiding action to avoid the car in front of him, decides to go up the inside, decides that's going to work, not going to work, and at the last moment backs out of it and gets wide, and just about manages to get it done and avoid the car ahead, which is good driving, I want to say. Bad driving to get too late on the brakes to begin with, but good driving to actually avoid a bigger accident. And that looks like Dale Jeffries being taken out by a spinning car. Not sure who that car would have been, and then Dale Jeffries deciding it's not his night and parking up as we watch Chris Stark getting a, I was gonna say a little nudge from behind, but that's an absolute ramming, isn't it, really? But Stark able to continue on.
Schultz waited for him.
And Schultz waited for him. Good, that's really good stuff. Well done, Schultz. Love to see that. That is what the GSRC is all about. It's the clues in the name, right, gentlemen? Sim Racing Club. We do like to see good racing. We like to see fair racing. We like to see plenty of space being given where it can be given, and when you make a mistake, we like to see people own up to it and just hold on and let the car that they've wronged get back ahead, and then you will likely avoid a penalty within the race. Although if the incident is particularly egregious, you might still get some penalty points on your license, and too many penalty points on your license means a race ban, and they can be handed out pretty quickly if you're doing silly stuff, because we don't try to be we don't mark ourselves as the place for the very, very fastest to come and race, although we've got some very, very fast guys here. We mark ourselves as a place that everybody can come race and get some better racing than you get in the officials, and to do that we need to be very on the ball with keeping up the racing standards, and we do I like to say that I think our race control does a very good job of that for the most part. This is Jake Slayer that we're watching now. See, he's braking hard. You can see the car wiggling as he's braking, so he's right on the limit of adhesion there. And then as he tries to turn in, not enough grip on those tyres. Tyres are already screaming that I'm doing too much work already. I haven't got any more grip to give you, so he goes for a little spin. And now we're watching the race between Greenbane and Daniel Snadden. Got to call out Daniel Snadden, currently in 12th spot and leading the Super 3 standings by a pretty hefty margin, 3.5 seconds over Gilbert. So he's looking like he's going to extend his lead at the top of that championship, regardless of what happens in this fight between him and Greenbane. Greenbane being one of the drivers not yet bucketed into either the Super 2 or the Super 3 Championship, and as you can see on the screen, those Super 2 and Super 3 standings have now been separated for you, so those following the Super 3 split can do so more easily. As we watch Bane get down the inside of Snedden in a very nice, very controlled move. 11.5 minutes gone, 13.5 minutes to go in this race, and that's a very wide Accelerate Sim sports car. I believe that will be Lorne Mackay. Adam Lavis doing a fantastic job on the pots and pans as usual to get you the information just as I start speaking about it, which is absolutely fantastic. We did the big movers at the end of lap 1, and some of those big movers have regressed now, so let's have a look at the movers within their own category. So we've got Green up 7 spots. So Green's taking the lead. We have a Ford in the lead of this race because Greg Favell, Damien Cairns, and Stephen Varga are all diving into pit lane on this lap 8 of what should be roughly 16 laps. Interesting to see where those cars come out and if they come out into traffic, because if they do come out into traffic, that could have a large impact on the race. It's relatively easy to overtake around Portimão, but overtaking is never easy in a race car, particularly if the car ahead is actually trying to keep you behind, which they may very well do. So let's see where these come out. And Greg Favell's going to come out ahead of Damien Cairns. That's the first thing we know. Two cars very close to making contact on the exit pit lane. Thankfully, you do go through each other for a little bit of the exit before you become fully solid cars again. Not something you'll hear on a real-life Supercars broadcast. So he comes out in 9th spot, which is rather interesting. Let's see what happened to Rain Visa. Just lights up the tyres on the exit. Trying to get an accelerator too early, a bit greedy there. Thankfully realises what's happening quite early and tries to fix it. Isn't able to fix it, but stops it from being too big a spin and from really putting heap of temperature into those rear tyres, which means he'll pay back some of that time over the next couple of laps had he versus had he really lit up the tyres and gone for a full 360 and tried to get out of it that way. So Ryan Tuggle currently runs in 4th place, but of course these standings are fake standings at the moment. We've got some drivers that are pitted, some drivers that haven't, and we just do not know where these cars are going to come out. The key car to look at is Jaden Green, because he is in the lead of this race. He was very, very close with Greg Favell and Damien Cairns when they pitted. They have come out into a bit of a gap. They've got 2.3 seconds to Brandon Griffiths ahead of them, but what we really want to see is what the lap times are going to be, and we not going to get that answer because Jaden Green has it piled into the pit one lap after Favell and Cairns to limit the power of that undercut. So now we have to wait and see where it comes out in relation to them on the track, as Nick Wood, along with Sean Van Der Meulen, Kurt Chapman and Sam Stride all continue on, as does Daniel Snowden, leader of the Super 2s. Super 3s. Apologies. And Nick Wood right behind Snowden. See what happened there. They took slightly different lines. I'm not sure Snowden got it a little bit wrong, but Nick Wood definitely got caught out by the pace of Snowden there and going a little bit slower than he expected. And you can see he had to jerk out a bit wider to try and avoid. At least that's what it looked like from that camera angle, and in doing so he's actually lost a place to Jack Humphreys. And both Humphreys and Wood in the Super 2s. Oh, and Snedden gets wide there, a little bit of a lock-up. Indication of how deep he's tailbraking there, because that lockup was very, very late and very far around the corner. So he is either was carrying a little bit too much speed and had to use the brakes for a little bit longer to corner than he ideally would have liked, or he is, as wrote, really trailbraking right into the apex before accelerating out of that hairpin. Kurt Chapman able to hold the tighter line around there. Then Sean Van Der Meulen, that will give him a little bit of time. Just taking tighter line there as well, so definitely looks like it's either got a little bit more left in his tyres, or it's just got a little bit more pace in that car. Gets a little bit out of shape over the top of the hill. Easy to do because the suspension unloads as you go over that hill. And you saw the car getting a little bit squirrely, but he continues on. Does Kurt Chapman, so he'll inherit the lead of this race in that battle for the real lead of the race. Let's call it the real lead of the race. Looks like Greg Favell has come out quite handily on top in that race. That is Greg Favell. Then you've got Liam Amos ahead of Damien Cairns and Jaden Green. So Green came out at the back of that little freeway, and they've had a couple of interlopers in the middle, and what that's done is it's just separated those top three out. So it's given Greg Favell a really healthy lead, and Damien Cairns is going to be playing rear gunner now, unless he can do something very quickly about the 1.5 second advantage that Favell has won through clearing the traffic just that bit quicker than Cairns and Green. Now 16 minutes in to this race, so we're quickly approaching 2/3 distance, and much of the pit strategy is now known, so we're getting a much truer reflection of what the field looks like than we did a few laps ago. A few holdouts, Chapman, Humphreys and Wood evidently wanting to go as long as they can and perhaps having a bit of fuel before they go for the pits, as is Tim Fuge in the Super 3, so that'll be interesting to see where Tim Fuge comes out and see whether he can have an impact, and then Colin Bennett as well, another driver in the Super Freeze that has held on for a little bit longer and will be hoping to do something to try and get ahead of Dane Snedden, but that's a very hard job given he had about a 4-second lead before the pit stop phase as Pavel bangs in the fastest lap for good measure. He does not want Cairns or Green to be holding on to any sort of hope that they might win this race. He wants to break them here and now and make that decisive getaway that makes it clear that Green and Cairns are in a fight for second and not first, as we watch David Lawler going for what? Yeah, does a fairly good job of getting back going there. I wonder if he's put off by the car ahead having a little bit of a lock-up, and then that's caused him to have a little bit of a lock-up himself, probably being a little bit generous. But those sort of mistakes, you're going to see those all over this track because this track is so undulating, it's up and down, up and down, up and down. It would make you feel sick if you were actually in one of these cars. And what that means is the amount of braking pressure you can put on in each of these corners is different because you've always got either the slope pushing you down, pushing the weight onto those front tyres, or you're going up a hill and all the way at the back of the car, and it is helping you to get that retardation that you need to get slowed down for the corner. So it's just very, very different every corner, and these cars of course did not have any ABS, and they are big heavy cars, are difficult to stop at the best of times, so it's very, very difficult to get it right around here for the better part of 16 laps and not make any mistakes. Somebody's gone wide there, just on the outskirt of that previous shot. There's some more of the cars yet to pit, get themselves in there. So this is Jake Slade we're watching now. He's at the back of the top 10 in a fight with Kurt Chapman. Ryan Tegel holds on to the last spot at the moment, ahead of Sean Van der Meulen. He's just putting his best lap of the race, as Ryan Tegel. So he's really putting in the hard yards to try and hold on to that spot. Dane Snedden resumes the lead of the Super Free category now that everybody has pitted except for, it appears, Eduardo Samora, who continues on, is currently in 4th spot. And Nick Wood, thank you very much, who is in the lead of the race. Can't imagine anyone's going to get to the end on one tank of fuel. So I do assume Wood and Edelswater will be making a stop, otherwise I'd expect to see a few more cars having not yet pitted, as David Lawler goes for a bit of a spin. And not a great rejoin.
Edwards got a heap of damage. I'm surprised he's been already get rid of the damage and get a nice clean car for a fast run. So, odd strategy here by Eduardo.
Yeah, that's quite a lot of damage. If that was a person, and you took it to meet your parents would say, "Can you tell them to put on a shirt because it's missing a bit of its coverage." Is that car? A few panels. Damien Cairns, yeah, goes aggressive. We're trying to get past the back marker, and the back marker does a really good job to just hold out wide, recognises that Cairns there, and knows that he doesn't want to get involved in that fight. So a really good job from whoever that back marker is. Apologies, can't quite make out. Was it Harrison Stasnes? Very good job there. That is the correct behaviour when you see the leaders coming up to the back of you in a GSRC race. Which is not to say if you're a lap down that we don't want to see you racing. We absolutely want to see you racing the cars that are around you, but just let the leaders through like that. See Jaden Green getting out from behind Damien Cairns there. Brakes later a little bit later into that corner. Keeps it quite nice and settled, that car, through what was a very difficult double right-hander. I believe that was Portimão. Just say every corner's Portimão, then I've got to be right at some point. Portimão is the double right-hander at the top of the hill, for those that are wondering. Oh! Big mistake there for Damien Cairns. Looked like he tried to get on the accelerator, the car won't live with it, and he's had to walk the car wide to stop it from going from a spin, and that has absolutely opened the door for Jaden Green to plough in to the inside, and he'll have the inside for the first corner, but Damien Cairns gets a bit of a better run, and they're going to get a bit of side drafting here. Look at the power of that Holden against the Ford. Jaden Green can't do anything against that, but Damien Cairns goes very, very wide there. Very wide indeed, and Jaden Green goes really late on the brakes into the hairpin. Gets the move done, but lights up the rear tyres on the exits. Damien Cairns might have a little bit more momentum coming out of there, but Damien Cairns' turn to get the rear tyres on the limit of adhesion. As you can see, the car trying to step out there on the exit. Both drivers taking a little bit of a narrow line there. So Jaden Green's trying to defend, and then Damien Cairns trying to go even more on the inside, but decides it's better off making a move there when Jaden Green is very obviously defending, and that's going to be a story for the rest of the race. These guys, they're not under any threat from Trent Allen behind. There's a 5-second gap there. They're not going to catch Greg Favell. He's 5 seconds ahead, so these two can cost each other as much time as they like in defense, and it'll be Jaden Green defending from Damien Cairns. He's just made a little bit of a gap there, gap almost at half a second, which isn't much in an open wheeler, but in a supercars is a bit more meaningful. Behind them, this is Stephen Varga, so he's currently in 5th place, and this is a key man to watch because he is in the lead of this championship. He started in 10th, he's up 5 spots, he's had a really good recovery up until now, and he's got Mick Clifton, who was at the back end of the top 10, who's really coming into his own in the last stages of this race. Evidently had a good pit strategy and has recovered up to 6th, was 10th, was 8th at one point, now up to 6th, up 3 spots from where he started. And then Stephen Varga is in 5th, and he's also got Trent Allen only 0.7 seconds ahead of him, so 4th and 6th and 5th are all on the table here for your championship leader at the end of this race, as we're going to watch Damien Cairns with that superior power from the Holland trying to get past Jaden Green. Has the inside of corner one. Jaden Green locks the tyres a little bit, does well to actually stay almost on the track surface. Got to try and go around the outside at the hairpin, keeps Damien Cairns tied in close to the apex on entry. Not able to get past them, and Damien Cairns has the advantage now with 1 minute left on the timer. So do we know if this is the final lap or not? It is the final lap of the race. So this is Cairns and Green's 4 keeps on this lap. Only a few overtaking opportunities remain in this race. They have been locked in a battle for the second half of this race. Never more than a second apart. Is Cairns, who currently has the advantage of the Green, held it for the briefest of moments on the penultimate lap. Can he muster up enough energy to mount one more attack before the end of this race and steal second place from Accelerate Sim Sports? They give Locked Up a little bit of glory. Damien Cairns locks the tyre there, goes a bit wide. It's not cost him too much time there, gets out of the brakes and is able to roll and maintain a fair bit of momentum. As we cut to Greg Favell, who rounds the final corner and will take a fantastic, not quite the final corner, and will take what should be a fantastic victory. This is the final corner, the long downhill right-hander. Getting the car deliberately a bit squirrely through the corner, which is playing with fire, but takes a stunning victory. Does Greg Favell from 2nd to 1st. His teammate Damien Cairns in 2nd, and then Jaden Green up 5 spots in 3rd. Trent Allen in 4th. Stephen Varga across the line in 5th as he just holds on from overtakes Mick Clifton. Just holds on from Mick Clifton and is still behind Trent Allen. Then Kurt Chapman is in 7th. Jake Slade in 8th. Sean Van der Meulen in at 9th, and Ryan Tegel at the back of the top 10. And where is Daniel Snedden? Has he crossed the line yet? I believe he is next on the track. There he is. He will cross the line to take the victory in the Super Freeze. 3.7 seconds ahead of Jared Wilbert, who is the only driver in the Super Freeze anywhere in his postcode, with Liam Amos in 3rd place, a further 14.2 seconds back. Fair to say this is a very challenging track, and it is a track that elevates the best and leaves those that don't quite have the pace a little bit further back than they might be on other tracks. So, contact there in the final corner. Tim Fuge does sneak past. I believe that might have been a back marker. McNamara, yeah, so McNamara in 6th place. Oh, Tim Fuge, the instigator of that. As we watch Angus Lawford cross the line. There you go, that is another round of the Super 2 and Super Freeze done and dusted. Don't go anywhere, we'll be bringing you some interviews from some of the protagonists of this race, followed a little bit later on, hopefully by the return of Zach Caban into the commentary box and onto the GT3s from Suzuka, which, as I'm sure you all know, is one of the other greatest tracks in the world. We'll start the interviews by bringing in Ryan Tagle, who just about held on in the top 10 in 9th spot. I was in a decent battle for much of the race. Ryan, how was that for you?
Yeah, very exciting actually. I haven't raced in V8s in a very long time, so good evening to everyone. It's been a little while, but yeah, especially this circuit is one I've never raced before, especially in V8, so it was a bit of an experiment. I felt like my race pace was much more consistent and better than my quali pace, so yeah, all in all, pretty good.
Well, the good thing is your qualifying pace doesn't need to be consistent, as long as you get the one lap in.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, I couldn't even set a decent qualifying lap. My race pace was only about 0.2 off my qualifying pace, so it's yeah, my qualifying needs some work. But yeah, other than that, I was pretty happy just to stay out of all the incidents. I had to run to the gravel a couple of times just to escape a couple, but yeah, it paid off.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about qualifying performance. There's some Red Bull F1 drivers that don't know how to qualify either. So, so it goes all the way up to the top of motorsport. Yeah, you weren't the only driver to have to take to the gravel to avoid some incidents. That first lap was really hairy. How many incidents did you see on the first lap being in the middle of the pack?
Well, I saw one behind me and one involving my teammates Starkey and Viz. And then as we approached that downhill hairpin, I saw a massive crash involving about 3 or 4 cars sort of happen a little bit. Well, I'm halfway in my braking, so I had enough time to sort of get out of the braking and avoid that. And then other than that, there were some single vehicle incidents as well, which sort of just gave me a couple of places. But yeah, basically just that start of the race, that big one at the hairpin was the main one for me to avoid.
Yeah, you said you don't drive these cars very often. What prompted you to get in them tonight?
I just had the night off. I love the Super 2s. Just yeah, just unfortunately work and other commitments just get in the way on Monday nights. But yeah, I was able to did one today.
Yeah,
had a bit of poor health today, but other than that, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, good to hear. Good to hear that it's been pretty good today. What else are we going to see you in around this week for the GSRC?
Production cars, mate, on the Wednesday night for me. That's my night where I can sort of get the same place, about 10th.
Well, looking forward to seeing you there as normal on Wednesday night. And if you're listening and you're around on a Wednesday night and not racing, well, start racing and get involved, or enjoy the broadcast on Wednesday night, because that is one of our broadcasted nights, and hopefully we'll return to broadcast this week after a week off.
So.
Thank you very much for joining us, Ryan. We'll move on to the two of the protagonists in the fight for the victory. Sadly, neither was able to get there. Grover Val was just a little bit too fast, but these two ended up in a right ding-dong battle for second place that I am, of course, referring to Damien Cairns and Jaden Green. I'll start with you, Damien, as you just about managed to win out in that battle. We saw a few times the two of you coming onto the final straight, fairly neck and neck, or even Jaden a bit ahead, and then your car just ploughed through. Did you deliberately not have much downforce on this evening?
No, I think with these, if you can get up alongside them and get the side draft, you can get a real slingshot. So I was trying to push him, and I think he was trying to push me, so we touched a couple of times, but yeah, I just managed to get the draft in front of him, and yeah, just enough to get down to the corner. And the other one, I thought, I'm willing to go right down to the fence, so unless he parks on the fence, I'm going down the inside. But yeah, it was a great battle with Jane at the end.
Yeah, it really was. It was very entertaining. How are you feeling when he got past you on the penultimate lap? Because there have been a few moves, but you've generally been able to hold him off for the laps before that, and then you finally made a decisive move with on the penultimate lap. And how are you feeling at that point? Were you thinking, that's it, or were you confident you'd be able to get back past?
If I could get a good run onto the straight behind him, that was my only chance, I think. Other than that, it's really hard to pass anywhere else if you can park the car. Even just halfway across the track, park it in the middle, it's really hard to pass. So I thought if I get a good draft, and I did, and he was coming across, and I was coming across, and then I thought, well, I'm going to keep going, and he didn't keep coming, so I managed to get up the inside. And obviously, if you can have the inside, you've got that first corner down the bottom.
Yeah, it's very hard to go around the outside there. It's actually very hard to get through just if you change the line at all.
Oh, absolutely. Even with the line, if you take the line, it's still hard to get through there without going off the track. So, yeah, too wide. Yeah, that's never going to work.
Yeah, it's an absolutely brilliant sequence of corners. And of course, that wasn't the only battle that we saw you in tonight. We saw you in a good battle with your teammate, Greg Favell, earlier in the race. Of course, you led for the first few laps before Favell was able to get past. How much of that was was deliberate, just knowing that he was your teammate and he seemed to be a bit faster than you behind you, versus just a genuine battle that Favell was able to win?
I was trying to stay in front of him. I said, "Oh, you can go," and he was like, "No, I'll do it." So I tried to battle as long as I could. But he's always there on your bumper, and as soon as you make one little mistake, he's in and he's gone.
Yeah, he's very, very quick. He's not someone you can get clean air ahead of you because he will drive away.
Yeah, I had to sort of keep him further away on the straights, but he managed to get past me. So yeah, no, it was good fun.
You did a pretty good job of keeping up with him through to the pit stops, and then after the pit stops, you weren't too far behind him. What happened after that? Because you seemed to drop 2 or 3 seconds fairly quickly. Was there some traffic or?
No, I just couldn't
Just
get back
paced.
into the rhythm when I came back. I just kept locking up and kept going wide, and it took me a little bit to sort of get my rhythm back. And yeah, that was about all it was.
I mean, if those last few laps were you driving with him, I don't think you need it, mate. Honestly, you're pretty quick.
Yeah, and I couldn't believe that quali time. That was like lap of the gods type stuff. That was my best time I'd done out of all the practices I've done by about 3/10. So it just came together.
Isn't it wonderful when that happens? When you just finally get your sectors together. Oh,
And I thought Greg's going to be pretty close to this mark. And I was watching the timing, and then yeah, I thought, hey, I'll take pole.
the problem is you do that, and then you're like, wait, now I've got faster cars behind me. Damn.
No, I know, exactly.
It's all fun. It's like, yes, I've absolutely nailed that. And then the reality dawns that you're going to have to be driving a bit of a defensive race. It's like, oh, I'd rather be at the back going forward. Or at least I would, anyway. Thank you very much for joining us. Are we going to see anything else this week at the GSRC?
No, probably not this week. Maybe next week I want to go at the open wheeler, see how we go. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the F3 or the new Formula Light or whatever it is.
I will say the Super Formula Light is a fantastic car, and you should definitely join me and Lavis in there.
Yeah, I might. We've got a few weeks off from bets on a Thursday night, so might be able to get a couple of races in.
Yeah, although probably stay away from the two of us on track because Lavis has had a lot of bad luck recently and keeps getting taken out, and I tend to be the one doing the taking out, so it's not the safest spot. Thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. Lovely to hear your thoughts on that fantastic battle, and best of luck for the rest of your racing this week.
No worries, thank you very much.
And we'll move on to the other protagonist in that battle, Jaden Green. Commiserations that you weren't quite able to get into second place, but still a fantastic performance to be up 5 spots from where you qualified and get onto the podium.
Yeah, that was a cracker. That was one of the most fun I've had in one of these races so far. That battle was amazing for the last 5 or so minutes. But yeah, my qualifying was pretty terrible. I think I was about second off the pace in qualifying. But with all that carnage, it just opened the doors for me, and I just went straight up into P3 on the first lap. So yeah, it was pretty handy to be in that position.
Yeah, it's pretty handy when the skies open up for you. It's a lovely feeling when you look down at your relative and see your position when it corrects the figure at the end of the lap. And you're like, oh, again, that many places, excellent.
Yeah, well, I could see Favell and Damien, so I was like, oh, I must be in a good position.
Yeah, it's definitely, because you want to be able to see exactly how many cars are ahead of you and do your own maths before you get to the start finish line.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a similar question to what I asked Damien, which is when you got past him on that penultimate lap, how were you feeling?
I don't know. I was just trying to keep the car on the track at that point. The tyres were feeling good, but once I got past him, I think I just pushed a little bit too hard after getting past him and overheated the tyres before I couldn't have a fight back on the last lap. It's just got a bit slippery there, but I think he might have got a slowdown, hence why I slowed right down and made the apex.
Interesting.
After passing him at 1, because you get a slowdown when you go out too wide there, so
Yeah.
Just kept
Yeah.
it calm and didn't really fancy being too ambitious with it.
Yeah, very fair, very fair. Oh, you mentioned there feeling like you might have overhit tires. For those that are less knowledgeable about what that feels like, how can you tell when you've overheated the tires versus you're just pushing a bit hard? Like, is there a way you can tell it, or is it just, hang on, I should be able to take this speed, it must be my tires?
For me, I usually just run out of rear end grip and it starts wheel spinning quite a lot. Because I hit a lap after them, I think it held it off for that little bit longer. Because I've seen Damien was slipping and sliding all over the place. But yeah, once I got past him, it just knocked off for me. And I just didn't have that rear grip that I had when I was able to make the pass. Probably also pushing a little bit hard as well, just try to stay in front.
Yeah, so you could just feel that you didn't have the grip that you had before, hence tires overheating, and then it's really hard because you have to come further back from where you were before to cool the tires back down, because you have less grip to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, radio. Still, third place, really good effort to be up 5 spots. You said you were a second off the pace in qualifying. Were you close to your ultimate pace, and your ultimate pace was just off, or did you have more to give?
No, I was a second off my own pace as well, so I cracked a 43.5 in the XSR session that was on before the session opened, and I couldn't even get close. I think I did a 44.2 to qualify. But yeah, I was shocked at how good the race car, like the race set was for that car. It was actually an incredible set.
Yeah, did you feel there was any difference between the Ford and the Holden around this circuit?
Nah, it's marginal if there is a difference. But yeah, got my set through the Project 36 boys this week, so they pretty switched on with what they can do. So unfortunate what happened to them, but yeah, nah, that's not really a difference between the Ford and the Commodore. I don't think.
Yeah, I think we've seen evidence of that throughout the season as well. There's generally Fords and Holdens in the top 5, and after that, it just comes down to who's having the better race on the day.
Yeah,
and
if there is a difference between the car, I might have to jump into the Commodore and see how I go.
Yeah, so if there is a difference, it's usually the nut behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And where else are we going to see you racing at the GSRC this week?
Nowhere. I go to work on Wednesday and I get back next Wednesday, so I miss V8s next week as well, unfortunately.
I'm just going to give that a boo, because boo. Unless you really need the work, in which case, yay. No, well, it's lovely for you to join us on one of your last nights before you have to go off and work for a full week. Good luck with your work, and good luck with any racing you might do tomorrow night.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
Thank you very much. And we'll pass on over to... we'll go over to Kurt, because he did get in before Daniel. We will come to you, Daniel, as the victor in Super 3, so don't go anywhere. Kurt, give us the story of your race.
Well, lap 1 was my first laps in the supercar, so that was an experience the entire race, just slowly improving the entire time.
Yeah, and you finished 7th in the Super 3, which is about halfway in the pack. Take out a couple of the retirements, so you had a pretty decent run there, given it was your first time. How did you find the cars?
I really liked it. I think my only issue was I had the wrong gear ratio, so I was topping out too early when I was in a battle with Tim and a couple others earlier on, so that didn't help. But no, I really like the car around here. If I maybe had a bit more time to practice and get things right, I maybe could have been a little bit further up, but I'm happy with middle of the pack. Slowly improving in the supercar and getting quicker and quicker each race.
Yeah, good. So one of your first times in the supercar. Will we see you for next week?
Yeah, I've started doing these every Monday night. I think I started at Sandown, and I've just been running since. But yeah, first laps at Portimão in the supercar.
Right,
so
yes.
Very happy.
That makes sense. Yeah, and Portimão is a very, very difficult circuit. Is it a circuit you know from other cars? Or...
A little bit. I've done a little bit of GT3 and other things around here, but definitely not a track that I know very, very well. Still learning it, and every race I'm doing here is just helping me get quicker and quicker.
Yeah, and because there's so many blind corners, there's more to learn than at most tracks, I would suggest.
Yeah, definitely. And soon I'll have to relearn pretty well every track anyway. Got a new rig instead of driving on the desk, so hopefully that should help with the braking consistency.
What's the upgrade? Let us know.
I got a GT Elite Light. So next level. Just need
Yep.
to put it all together and do a few modifications for myself. The seat height is just a little too low for my desk, so I need to get a couple mounts or something like that and just raise the seat, and everything should be good. And then hopefully getting a new wheel soon too. So
What are you
upgrades
eyeing?
coming in.
What are you eyeing
Uh,
up?
Just getting a R5 bundle to get my foot in the door on the direct drive, and then I'll go from there.
Yeah, nice. Nice. I need to upgrade for direct drive at some point. Yeah, very jealous. Nicely done. I had the FGT Lite before. It's a decent rig, particularly given like its profile. I'd say it's pretty decent.
Yeah, definitely happy with my purchase, and hopefully that should get me a little bit of time because I can be a little bit more consistent with brakes and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, definitely consistent on the brakes. It helps a lot because you can be so much more aggressive when you have that confidence in your brakes. And before I let you go, where else are we going to see you at the GSRC this week?
I'll be running GT3, probably production car cup, and that's about it. I need to restrict back. I've got more shifts at work again. They had to let someone go, so have
Huzzah.
yeah, getting more shifts, so I'm getting a little bit more money, but yeah, it means I can't do as much racing as I want to do, especially when I got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning for some shifts. So.
But it does mean you can afford better racing gear. So
Exactly. So
That's
that's why I'm
true.
getting the bundle, getting better pedals, better wheel, got a rig, everything's coming together.
Excellent. Well, enjoy the GT3s, and I'll see you in the Production Car Cup on Wednesday.
Definitely will. I'll catch you guys later.
Catch you later. All right, and now we move on to our last driver for the supercars. It is the victor in the Super 3, Daniel Snedden, and runaway championship leader. How are you going? It must be pretty good in the supercars right about now.
Yeah. I guess it's learning this car and getting on top of the car, and then getting a track like this thrown at you. It's intense. Something that I definitely found as a bit of a challenge because I had to learn the track to begin with, and then come out and try and set some times. But yeah, I spent a lot of time with Jake Slade, my teammate, doing a bit of practice and then jumping in a couple lobbies, and I guess just trying to compare myself with the Super 2 guys. They're so fast, like you're jumping in with Pavel. The guys like that, it's so hard, man.
Yeah, some of those guys are absolutely alien level quick. They are next level. There's times you look at it and go, that's quick. I can't do that, but I could see how you could do that. And then there's times you look at it and go, that's not what corner have they cut.
Yeah. So I tend to watch those guys a lot at the moment, just seeing where they're changing gears, how they're changing, if they're short shifting into another gear to stop wheel spin. Like I feel like I got a bit lucky in this race on lap 1. I did get tagged coming down into the hairpin, and I thought I had damage on the rear, and it's one of those things that plays on your mind too. But after watching the replay, it looks like I was okay. But yeah, I feel like I'm doing okay in this series. Being a first time running it, so it's just trying to keep on top of that practice.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're doing very, very well in the Super 3. You literally could not be doing any better in the Super 3 as terms of championship positions go. So I think you're doing a very, very good job. And cars that are very, very difficult to drive and quite different to a lot of cars you drive on the surface. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, 100%. Like this track here, I could see where you would brake in the GT3 car, for instance. But then I can see where you have to brake in this, otherwise you're taking a grass nap. So yeah, I locked it up a few times. I've seen guys locking it up a few times. It's inevitable, I feel. It's so hard. And it's 25 minutes of continuous effort. You get a sweat up, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think every time we cut to a new shot, there was some sort of smoke either in the air or produced while we were in the shot. It was everybody was locking up everywhere because these cars are so difficult and it's such a difficult track. Yeah, your aspirations are obviously for the championship in the Super 3, and then you'll be looking at Super 2 next season, I imagine. Is the intention to continue on and persist with the supercars, and are you driving them anywhere other than the GSRC?
No, I'm not driving anywhere other than the GSRC at this point in time. I have been predominantly just driving this car. I've only actually stepped back into driving live official sessions. doing a couple of races there. But I've done a lot of time in this car, just trying to. I'm looking at the times every time I jump out with someone like Jake. Jake Slade, my teammate, and he's driving a second quicker than me, and I'm just like, well, how can I get that second out of this car? I know it's all time behind the wheel, but just trying to get that time on myself as quickly as I possibly can, so that if I do move into Super 2 next season, then I'm actually on pace and competitive. I don't want to be lingering around the back if possible.
That's good. That's going to have some of the people in Super 2 quaking in their boots, because you've proven yourself to be a very fast driver in multiple cars, and it sounds like you're going about it the right way, looking at, yes, I need to improve, yes, I need to practice, but also I need to look at how I can improve, watch faster people, and actually pick up their techniques rather than just practice aimlessly. If you practice aimlessly, you will improve, but not nearly at the rate where if you practice with purpose.
Yeah, that's right. And I nearly didn't race tonight. I had a medical emergency last night with my wife, and she's all right.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I left my wheel on when I went to the hospital, and I rang up one of our sponsors, actually, HR Sims, for hybrid racing simulations. And he was straight on the phone with me. All I had to do was hold the paddles in on my wheel, and it was working again. I just had no response. But yeah, brilliant. I was so stressed.
Yeah, I can imagine, and particularly given obviously been in a stressful situation to begin with, and then you get home and you're like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, just on that, I'd like to have a little bit of
go for it.
Sponsors. So DC Tuning and Mechanical really been supportive of us in regards to our private vehicles. Van Gogh, they've been supportive with us as well. We're driving these should-speed gloves. If you haven't had a look at a sim, I was going to say that before when I was speaking about simulator stuff, but hrsims.com.au, check them out. Transmission Solutions, and also we've got Slady's Bossworks, which is who we're racing for, which is actually Jake's company on the Central Coast of Australia, and Singo's Meats. So thanks so much for our sponsors for being there for us as well.
Yeah, and with that, we will let you go for the night. Thank you very much for joining us at Commentary Box, and congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
And now we've heard Dane's sponsors. We should probably go through the sponsors for the GSRC who helped to bring you this brilliant racing, the live race control, the broadcast. All that is possible only because of the kind support of the companies on the bottom of your screen, and they include Sprayton non-alcoholic cider, Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Loebsy Racing, and Wave, and there is an affiliate link in the Discord, and Flash Graphics. Thank you very much for watching the Supercars with us. We're going to have a quick break before we move on over to the GT3s, where Zach Cabin will bring you all of the action live from Suzuka.
The baton change is complete, ladies and gentlemen, and we turn our attention from Portugal to Japan, from supercars to GT3, and to the latest sprint round in the Waste Options GT3 Championship. And we're going to start with the AM split for race 1, and then fire into the pro split for race 2. Good evening, everybody. Zach Caban taking over now. Welcome to the continuation of Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Big thanks to Banksy, actually, off the top. Quick short bit of notice for him to come in as a driver change tonight and fill in for me for the Super 2, Super 3, whilst I was attending to some rugby league MC and commitments here in the heart of Ipswich. But all programming, normal programming, all systems a go for GT3. We're very excited about that. There's the circuit, 5 3/4 kilometres. The Suzuka Grand Prix layout, 26 degrees. The ambient, 39 on track. Stifling hot conditions there at the end of May 2024. 13:01, so 1 past 1 in the afternoon. Clock moving twice as fast as it would in the real world. 19 km/h winds and 54% humidity. Overcast conditions. Are we ever going to get a wet race in GT3, Adam Lavis? Good evening.
I believe tonight there's literally a strong chance of rain in this race, and a small chance in the next race.
All right, I'm all for it. That'll spice things up for the invert. All right, the championship standings at the moment. James Francone on top, and he's 61 points clear of Chris Bleakley. Eduardo Zamora, 195, 17 points back to both Brian Bullock and Ben Lavender. Bobby Camo on 161, 2 points clear of Adam Johnson, who has 10 on Andrew Franklin, 11 back to Adam Hennessy on 138, and 9 back to Warren Ibert, rounding out the top 10. You've got Ferrari, Mercedes, BMW, McLaren, Porsche, and Audi represented in that top 10 at the moment. 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 is the big talking point in Waste Options GT3M at this point.
So there's a little tiny spit of rain coming, a little band just on the radar there.
Just enough to make it challenging, just enough to make them second guess what tyre compound they could run.
And also the question is, will they get here within the next 15 minutes? Oh, sorry, next 20 minutes, sorry.
21 minutes, in fact. All these questions soon to be answered. The grid very quickly. Gallagher and Sharp at the front row. Carr and Russell the second. Good to see Bradley and Darren both in there. Andrew Franklin and Adam Hennessy the third row. Scott Jordanson, Adam Bryant, Bobby Camo and Brett Bradbury in the top 10. Ben Lavender and Tafan Ozturkman on the 6th row. Francone Zamora the 7th. Bullock McGrath the 8th. Amos McNamara the 9th. And Goring and Nomanson the 10th. We'll get to the rest of them as we go here, ladies and gentlemen. Monday Night Motorsport, week 7 of term 2. Let's go to work. Race 1 or 2 in Waste Options GT3. It's the M split first up. It's a field of 27 taking the green flag. A lot of cars opting out of this one tonight. As many as 8 of them, in fact, and Rangers are already opting to start from pit lane to avoid potential first corner carnage. Gallagher's going to lead them through from Russell, Sharp, Carr and Hennessy. Cleanly. It's Lamborghini leading Mercedes, leading Porsche, BMW. Ferrari also in the top 10 there as well. The McLaren of Brian Bullock sitting down in 15th. Further beyond that, just having a look, no Fords in this field. The only Audi is Warren Ibert in 25th position. So 7 of the 8 manufacturers represented out there tonight. We know that there's a 9th coming. Eduardo Zamora sitting there in 12th at the moment. Back to Andrew Franklin in 6th. Our leader, Stephen Gallagher, being hounded by Aaron Russell at the moment. And great to see Aaron back in the server. Lap 1 of 11. A 21-minute clock for this opening race. Should we get a safety car, you can guarantee time certainty. But it is Suzuka, so we will avoid that at all costs as best we can. Let's remind you, Sam Stride didn't start, nor did Pariana Stargus, Stephen Crediton, Harry Stasinus, David Bernays, Magnus Roney, Adam Johnson, Alfredo Hugo, and also Matt Schmidtke opting not to start tonight, although Schmidtke, isn't he normally in the top split, or hasn't he been elevated up there at some point? I'm not sure. So quite a few non-starters tonight. There was a lot of interest in the server, but only 27 taking the green flag. Brett Bradbury being hounded further back, trying to get around the outside of Ben Goring and does so. Kurt Nomanson's involved in that battle as well. 1:59.879 for Stephen Gallacher. The Twitchy Foot leads the way in the land of the rising sun. Been an enormous weekend of motorsport, hasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? MotoGP last night from Catalonia, Formula One from Monaco, and I'm not going to lie, I'm quite proud of this. I watched the replay of the first lap in Monaco, and I was instantly reminded of my own Formula One 24 gameplay, or 23 gameplay on PS5. That was, yeah, it was kind of a sim world becoming real world sort of moment. But gladly, everyone walked away A-OK. And then, of course, the weather delayed Indianapolis. I'm not going to spoil that because I know some people still yet have not had the chance to watch it. And then the Coke 600 for NASCAR, which I don't think you can call it 600 when rain wins the day and the race gets cut short. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say on that. Again, for fear of spoiling it for somebody that hasn't yet watched it. So it is sprint racing tonight. Adam Lavis will have to let me know whether we've got to be out of here early or whether we're able to do a full post-race show. But in the meantime, there are some spinners. Starting with Hernal. Big mover of the race so far. Eduardo Zamora up 3 spots, and Chris Stark up 7. Warren Ibert up 10 spots already. Although some of those, oh, trouble! Alan Russell in the wall and done. That's a big one for the Merc. Russell's front end is crunched up. He's trying to get it back going, but it's crabbing. Let's have a look at this. 130R bites again, doesn't it? Oh, jeez. Bang. Bang. And he just rode the tyre barrier all the way down. Wedged himself in. So the gravel traps only slow down so much at Suzuka. A lot of work's been done on some gravel traps elsewhere, but by gee, that was a big shot.
Well, you unfortunately got bypassed the gravel trap and went to the access road on the outside of the gravel trap.
Oh dear, what about that? That's a big one for Russell, and all the work to do now that he's picked up a fast repair and got back out there on the racetrack in 26th position. The only way is forward, son. He won't want to come in here and have a chat about that one afterwards, I wouldn't imagine. Not his finest moment in the GT3 Mercedes. Let's remind you that Patrick Hernal is the last of the runners at the moment. Brian Bullock's also had an unscheduled pit stop. Those guys have dropped down to 25th, 26th and 27th respectively. Wayne Viz has moved up to 23rd and is just benefiting from any attrition around him at the moment. Dale Sharp trails Stephen Gallacher by 1.3 seconds and is under pressure from Bradley Carr. We've picked up Scott Jordanson chasing Andrew Franklin. Bobby Camo's got Adam Bryant and Ben Lavender for company as well. Gallacher with the fastest lap of the race. No real surprise there. Oh, more trouble. Ben Lavender comes unstuck at 130R. Gets out of there, but how's the car more to the point?
It's going to be another one of those nights of the banana peel on the slipstream. Oh, he hasn't even got to the rubber strip. Just Porsche it.
We shouldn't laugh, but it is trademark of Porsche entries to do those sort of things. We've seen it more times than we care to remember. Adam Bryant in 8th spot. Eduardo Zamora is 9th. Tayfun Oz-Turkman is 10th. And James Francone, Robert McGrath, Liam Amos, Mark McNamara, Ben Goring make up the top 15. Chris Stark is 16th. And if you're just tuning in, This is week 7, so this is the critical number, because once tonight's over and done with, drop rounds come into play. Drop rounds become part of the equation. Cannot wait to see how that plays out. And who benefits most from that? Gallagher, Sharp, and Carr, Hennessy. Hennessy up 2 spots. Camo up 2 spots. Jordanson up 1. Eduardo Zamora, the biggest mover within the top 10, up 5 places in 9th. McGrath, Ramos, and McNamara and Goring are all up 4 spots. 12, 13, 14, 15. And Saki's up 11. But what I want to highlight here is with the drivers that didn't start and the fact that there are a couple of drivers there, like Warren Ivett, for instance, saying he started in 32nd. Well, hang on, they're only 27 cars take the green flag. So some of them aren't truly reflective of the gains that they've actually made. They're a little bit exaggerated. In the meantime, oh no, Patrick Hurnall's off the road. So too's Martin Walker. Hurnall's on the tow rope, and I think he's parked up for the night now. We'll find out what's happened there in just a moment, but Hurnall is done. The old rage quit. There's Mihar again. Yes, iRacing, correct. Yes. We were having that running joke the other night, weren't we? Brett Bradbury into pit lane as well, and Martin Walker too. So there's been a couple of incidents that we need to address and need to have a look at here. Firstly, Patrick Hurnall to turn 1. Well, that didn't look terribly bad, but it must be coming. Around the back of the circuit at the end of the first sector. And he's just pulled up to the side of the road and said, you know what? This thing's a handful and I've had a gut for. Jordanson in 6th spot. Under pressure here. Under pressure. That's live. Deep, deep, very deep. 2 deep. Span it. God. Bobby Camo. In a very awkward position as well. He's lost the front end. He's done the good deed of getting off the racing line into the infield onto the grass, but he's minus the front end of the car. Precarious position of the racetrack to get caught up on. Right on the racing line, slowest part of the racetrack, everybody coming towards you. Everybody's still relatively bunched up. They did well to avoid him for the most part. 5 of 11 is about to become lap 6. Bradley Carr is 3rd, chasing Dale Sharp. Trailing him is Adam Hennessy and Andrew Franklin. Scott Jordanson is 6th and Adam Bryant is 7th. That's the only real positional battle we've got going on at the moment, is Bryant and Jordanson. Everybody else is stagnant. That battle you've picked up on screen there, Adam Lavis, is Taylor Oz Turkman. Tayfun Oz Turkman, I should say. 5 laps gone there. 6 to go. He's got Franco, McGrath and Amos for company. Franco to the inside, can't get it done. 4-way fight for 9th, which means 2 get the invert to the front row of the grid for the next race and 2 miss out. We'll switch to the pro split very shortly. Franco, that's precarious. That's brave and game and bold. Couldn't get it done, and rightly so. That's Turkman holding on here. Francone is 10th. McGrath is 11th. We will break away from the AM split at the end of this one, ladies and gentlemen. We'll bring you the pro split feature race. Is Matt Dench on his way? Is he destined to reach the summit and claim his 10th consecutive title? We're less than 4 weeks away from finding out. Oh, Francone's giving him a touch. They're both gone. I think Francone might have got some assistance. Oz Turkman and Francone in the wars. Oh, that rejoin was a bit sketchy as well. Robert McGrath's been caught up in that. He's on the tow rope. Oh, would you believe it? McGrath. We'll get another look at that shortly, I'm sure, but It's the slowest part of the racetrack. Everybody's checked up, and all you need is one guy to miss the braking point. Have a look at it again from the aerial shot. McGrath going in. Oh, yeah, I tell you what, some of the blame I think needs to be pinned on Frencone on that one. I don't want to do race control's job for them, but it looked like Frencone was coming across to cover off McGrath, and the gap wasn't there. And they were getting closed off on him. So he's closed off McGrath, whilst also trying to gain a position, and it just never looked like coming to fruition. So that'll be an interesting one for race control to have a look at and adjudicate on accordingly. Gallagher, Sharp, Carr, Hennessy, Franklin, and Jordanson the top 6. Bryant is 7th. Zamora, Amos, then McNamara the top 10. You're watching Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Uh-oh. Chris Stark in the wars, and oh no! And there was nothing that the oncoming car could do about that. And I don't know who it was that smashed into the side of Starkey there. Was it Warren Ibert maybe? And that's unlucky. Wayne Visser at the hairpin. Yep, Warren Ibert, watch this. And with about half a second's notice, he realised he was in real trouble. Starkey had no control of that Mercedes of his. And it veered straight back across the racetrack on back. It wanted to go right, it then wanted to go left, it's coming back right and crowd into the wall. Oh. Geez, Adam Lavis, the attrition rate's high. At least you got no shortage of replay content here.
Yeah, 130R is very treacherous. It's like in this scan, the curb's got a couple of little holes in it, and it can really upset these stiffly sprung cars.
Down the main straight, Adam Bryan in 7th spot now. So Visser and McGrath on pit road. Viz back on pit road. Warren Ibert, Chris Stark have transited the lane. Martin Walker, Brett Bradbury, everybody from Ben Lovett are down. So, I mean, Brian Bullock's parked up, he's gone. Patrick Hernal and Mark Bowman. I mean, it's as though those guys don't realise it's a two-race program. So the field's already dropped to 24 for the next race. Because they've already ejected from the server for the evening. Can they rejoin, Adam, or is that it? They're just gone. That's it, done.
As long as they don't actually withdraw. If they withdraw throughout iRacing, then they can't. If they're still registered, they'll be able to jump in if they wanted to.
Fair enough. Yeah. So by withdraw, we mean forfeit, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the front end of the 16th place car at the moment. That's Bobby Camo. So clearly, that is just artificial damage because it doesn't seem to be affecting his performance. Down the inside, makes light work of Janesh Ragwani, who went deep and too wide into the hairpin.
We have seen since the new Fez came out, the bumper mounts on the front end are pretty weak. It doesn't have much to knock their bumper off.
Copy that. Oh, it's all happening here. Down the main straight, we pick up Eduardo Zamora. We're on lap 9. So just 3 laps to go. And whilst it's a little bit processional at this point of the race, no shortage of action in the lead up to this point.
So one of the things with Suzuka, it's a very technical track, so it can really Aaron, hold on to it, mate. But it can really accentuate the the skill of the drivers and just blow out the times, because you make one small, like through this whole first sector, you make one small section, you're paying for it for the next 3 corners.
Yeah, momentum's a big thing around here. Let's have a look at the replay. This is Warren Ibert.
He's just got his car
He's
refreshed.
been in the wars tonight. He really has been in the wars.
He's already had his fast repair, and
Oh dear. Oh dear.
It's not going well.
No.
130R claims another victim. Brett Bradbury. Oh, what's he doing? What's he wearing?
Hello, Pete Matson, by the way, tuning in on the comments. And Brett Bradbury goes right and upside down. That's an enormous crash. Oh, well, 10 points for the landing. He ended up back on his lip. Back on all fours. He started on his lip. My goodness, what a crash that was. Kurt Noman's under pressure here from Bobby Camo. Camo to the inside to 14th at Spoon. Thank you very much. Noman's yields.
Oh, spin up.
Oh, no.
That was safe front.
That's Tayfun Oz-Turkman again. And the BMW has been routed and is off the road at the Spoon curve. Kurt Nomenson's able to continue on, but with a wounded car, I can't see how he wouldn't be wounded after that. Oh, geez. Oz-Turkman, AstroTurf, and BMW impersonating Porsche. Oh. Look, yeah, if Oz-Turkman didn't get the boot into it there and move fractionally, Nomenson makes it through, I think. So Amos now hounding Franklin. Zamora is ninth. Mark McNamara is sitting comfortably in the invert position at the moment. Ben Goring trying to do something about that, dragging along James Francombe. An ultimate lap. The waste options GT3 AM. And then, of course, we'll bring you the Pro Split feature race. We'll bring you the results from this split at the end of the broadcast from their second race, of course. And hopefully, before we get off air tonight, the updated championship standings in both Pro and AM, but we're not going to put that much pressure on Adam Lavis. If he can't get it done, we'll come back to it next week. Tayfun Oz-Turkman's on pit road, has been for half a minute. The tails of the walking wounded. Everyone outside the top 15 has been on pit road at least once. 3 of them are still on pit road, so therefore, Pro Split is wet and wild, is the advice from Sean Benici. There we go.
Well, the way the silver was set, this race had a 60-something% chance of rain, so the aim split guys have got away with that. And there's only like a
closing down in Pro.
But the second race is only like a 7 to 16% or something, so it's a much smaller chance.
Oh, jeez. Liam Amos goes up into 7th. Displaces Andrew Franklin, who was very wide going through.
If Jared Knight's commenting, that's not a good sign.
No, not at all. Not at all. Sitting in pit lane, just waiting for his second chance.
Especially if the pro guys have started 5 minutes later than us, so they've still got 5 minutes to go.
Brett Bradbury saying, where did I go with the Porsche that I practiced with? Oh, no. Oh, dear. So a totally different race car to a practice car, according to Brett Bradbury. So, yep, Jared Knight's been cleaned up, turn 1, lap 1. Don't you just love that when the night ends that early? White flag is out. It is the last lap. It's Stephen Gallacher for Twitchy Foot. We've got 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 here, folks. Lamborghini, Mercedes, Porsche, BMW, and also Ferrari. Dale Sharp, that is a tremendous run from him to convert second place into a second place finish. Top 3 actually about to finish where they started. The big trouble struck early. Aaron Russell down in 17th after an early unscheduled pit stop to claim a fast repair. Benici saying that he was claimed by frame rates. There you go. something to work on. Oz Turkman, Bradbury, McGrath still in the server. Visual up, down, out on the racetrack. Bullock, Hernal, and also Bowman have retired. So this field shrinks to 24 for the feature. And Stephen Galich is about to notch up a race win here for Twitchy Foot Racing. And as reward, he will start race 2 from 10th. Checkered flag is out. Galich gets the job done. Sharp in for second. Then Bradley Carr, Adam Hennessy, Scott Jordanson, Adam Bryant. Then Liam Amos, Andrew Franklin. Eduardo Zamora's put it off the road. Can he get it back on the road, or is he going to lose 9th? Let's have a look. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's gone. Eduardo Zamora is going to drop out of the top 10. Disaster on the final corner for Eduardo Zamora. McNamara jumps up to 9th. Franklin to 8th. Zamora drops down to 12th, and Francone gets the invert in 10th. Just edging out Goring by 0.18 of a second. Zamora, the latest victim of 130R. Oh, we've seen a few shunts through there already. That one, perhaps the most disappointing, considering it was the last lap, considering that he was well and truly cemented inside the top 10. Then all of a sudden, the invert, instead of going to Mark McNamara, goes to James Francone, and Zamora will be watching on with all the work to do from 12th. Well done, Stephen Gallagher. Class performance. Just drew away from Dale Sharp and Bradley Carr in the end. 2.26 the winning margin. Lambo from Mercedes, Porsche, BMW and Ferrari. Twitchy Foot Aussie racers both on the podium. Couple of no team names there for Bradley Carr and Adam Hennessy, but Scott Jordanson for 75 SimSport got up there into 5th place. Liam Amos up 10 spots, the biggest mover of the lot. That was very impressive.
I believe Hennessy's part of the same team as Benjamin Levitt and the Shark Hat, I believe.
Copy.
He just hasn't updated his SDK.
Copy. So the warm-up underway here for these guys. They're about to jump into race 2 over 37 minutes. Invert top 10. We'll bring you the results from that later on. But in the meantime, there are the results from race 1. 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. A lot of walking wounded. 3 retirements that have become withdrawals already from the second race. And Gallagher getting the job done from Sharp, Carr, Hennessy, Jordanson. Then back to... They just disappeared on me, those results. There they are. Bryant, Amos, Franklin, McNamara, and Francone. Right. We are about to shift gears again, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to switch it from the AM Split to the Pro Split server and race 2 of Waste Options GT3 for a Monday night dose of GSRC. Coming your way on the other side, week 7 of term 2, night 1 thereof, and we're only just getting started. The feature, the dessert, if you like. We've had the main course, we've moved into dessert of GT3 on the other side after the entree, of course, was held with Liam Banks anchoring the commentary from the Portimão or Algarve International Circuit with Super 2, Super 3. So it's the best of all 3 worlds tonight. The dual server there, the split servers here, and we're bringing you 1 race from each. And we'll continue our coverage on the other side of this when we switch it up to the Pro Split and race 2. Good evening once more, everybody. Nice to have you along for the ride as we continue. Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport and Waste Options GT3 specifically. Night 1 of Week 7 in Term 2 of 2024. And we're back at the Suzuka International Racing Course in Japan. Yes, we're going Oriental tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The land of the rising sun on the back of supercars in Portugal. The AM Splits opening sprint race here just a few moments ago. And now we ramp it up with Pro for 37 minutes in the top 10 invert on the grid. On the back of what we heard was a very wet affair in race 1. And championship points coming into this round saw, surprise, surprise, Matt Dench on top with 250. And you can see there that it is still tipping down. Suzuka, there's still a very wet line on that racetrack. 250 plays Jared Knight, 249. We've already heard what's happened tonight. He's not so far. Richard Mitchum third on 232. Simon Nicholson 219. Ash Collins 196. 186 for Oscar Haynes. 178 for David Johnson. Richard King 173. 153 for Thomas Foster. And Adam Burholt on 130 points, making up the top 10. Let's have a look at the qualifying results from earlier tonight. Matty Dench on top. That won't surprise anybody. 1 minute 59.513. Richard Mitchum, Jared Knight, Magnus Roney, and Ash Collins, the top 5 there. Denchi had 0.36 on Mitchum. And Chuk Fung Wong rounded out the top 20. Nick Wood rounded out the top 10. Where it gets interesting is the results from race 1, ladies and gentlemen. This went time certain at 10 laps rather than the 11 due to the wet weather. Denchi losing out in the end to Richard Mitchum. Now there's a surprise for everybody that Denchi is not the master of the rain just yet. But he shouldn't be surprised that Richard Mitchum was ahead of him there, ladies and gentlemen, because Mitchum, he's used to the tipping down of the proverbial because, look at the flag next to the Twitchy Foot Racing logo. The Great Brit is, very well immersed, very well versed in these wet weather conditions. There's no doubt about that. Denchi was second, Magnus Roney, Oscar Haynes, David Johnson, Adam Burhop, Thomas Foster, Chuk Fung Wong, and Ashton Ardley made up the top 10, which means the youngster is going to lead the field to green for this second race. And as you can tell there, ladies and gentlemen, we've still got some wet patches on the racetrack. We've still got a little bit of rain falling. Sorry, Adam?
Ashton Knight's Ryan Mulder 10th.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Ashton Ardley was 9th and Ryan Mulder was 10th. So, I don't know, I must have got ahead of myself there. So, Ardley 9th and Ryan Mulder 10th. Ryan will get the invert. Dave Oliver was just outside from Fred Kahn, Damien Snadden, Parry Anastasios, Jeff Adams, Ash Collins, Colby Callum, Adam Chiplin, as we have a look at the circuit there. So, 20 degrees the ambient temperature, the track temperature rather is 20 degrees, 22 the ambient. We're at 2 minutes past 5 in the afternoon, May 26, 2024. 88% humidity, and the rain factor is still evident there on the racetrack. You can still see some raindrops falling and some spray being kicked up from these cars as we get ready to go once more. We've got a field of 34 lining up for this race. So quickly, just having a look outside that top 18, 19 area, if we can have a look at that, Adam Lavis, very quickly. So we've already run you through the top 10 and what that looks like inverted. Let's go and have a look. Paul Wood and Daniel Piper from the 10th row of the grid. Greg Heaney, Matt Schmidtke, David Bernays, Jonathan Hooper, Richard King, Dave Riddell, Michael Edwards, Scott Wood and Nick Wood, Jack Humphreys. And then, of course, Andrew Neal, Adam Payne, Andrew Hazard and Shannon Fever, Sean Benici and Jared Knight. So no Snedden and no Benici. No Snadden and no Benici on this restart. So race 2 of round 7 of Waste Options GT3 Pro from the Suzuka circuit. Let's go to work. Ryan Mulder and Green start up the side. Look at the spray being kicked up there as they head down towards turn 1. This could be a truly wet race. Whether we'll get more rain or not, or whether the track will dry out, isn't yet known, but we've got 37 minutes to find out. Look at the spray.
The animation isn't great, but there is still raindrops every now and then you can see, so it is actually still raining. So the track probably isn't going to dry out in the space of the race.
Copy that. Thank you, Adam Lavis. Oh, trouble at the back. Andrew Hazard in the gravel. And if they've done the rain model correctly, it shouldn't have been that easy to get out of the soaking wet gravel track.
Wet gravel's easier than dry gravel.
Well, that's true. He still did it with consumer ease, though. Have a look at this side by side. Brett Kahn under pressure. Jeff Adams and Colby Callum hovering all over him.
And this time, Dempsey's got the wet tyres on, and it's the correct choice, unlike a Bathurst.
Yes, correct. And he's already updated. He's got Dave Oliver up to 9th from 11th on the grid. Nathan Roney's dropped 2 spots. Richard Mitchum. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, don't tell me Richard's had a dropout. Packet loss. Can you believe that?
I think he has.
Richard Mitchum drops to 33rd with packet loss. I can't quite believe that. Ashton Ardley's going to lead this field around. Adam Burhop there in second. Chuk Fung Wong, Ryan Mulder, third and fourth. And Ashton Ardley. Yes. Connected to Kai Ardley. We figured that out last week. But Ashton is going to lead a race in the GSRC for, I think, the first time. Burhop, Fung Wong, Mulder, Haynes, Foster, the top 6. Remember, this time last week we're at the Nordschleifer, which looks like a breeze compared to Suzuka in the rain. Having a look through the field, you got Lamborghini, you got Audi, you got BMW, you got Ferrari, you got Porsche, all represented out there. BMW 1, 2, 3 at the moment. Burhop forcing the issue with Ardley. Burhop's the guy you got to watch tonight. There are no Mercs out there, and there are no Fords. It's a BMW 1, 2, 3. Haynes is 4th in the Porsche. Ryan Mulder's Audi is 5th. Thomas Foster in the Ferrari is 6th. Four different manufacturers inside the top 10 at the moment. Around the outside goes Adam Burhop. Oh! If he can pull that off, it's a tremendous move, a terrific move. Has he got the job done on Ardley? Yes, he has! Although there might have been a little bit of hip and shoulder there at the very end to finish it off. And he had that thing twitchy through turn 1 on the approach to turn 2 as well. He did well not to lose it, Adam Burhop. Great car control, great driving. And the outside does hold a little bit more grip in these conditions. We know that, and he illustrated why perfectly. Lambo left in the field now, ladies and gentlemen. Is that a great call? Drawing with Sean Benici. Of course, as we've already detailed, we have got we've got no McLarens either out there. So no McLarens, no Mercedes, and no Ford out there in this field. So only the 5 manufacturers. Andrew Hazard off the road again. Richard Mitchum's out of contention. Burhop, Ardley, and Fung Wong the leaders in Japan. Now this is going to be interesting. Who benefits most in an invert situation? Matty Dench is only up 1 spot so far. After finishing 9th, he's up to 8th. Magnus Roney, Dave Oliver have swapped around spots as well. Roney in 9th, Oliver in 10th. Jeff Adams is 11th, up 4 spots. Colby Callum up 5 spots. Paul Wood up 5 spots. Harrietta Starkus was in the wrong server earlier. He is now up 1 spot in this server. That's Jared Knight getting a helping hand for the second time tonight. 9 spots gained for Andrew Neal, so too Shannon Fever. And yeah, obviously we're already well aware as Adam Hayne pulls off to the side of the road and takes a couple with him. Adam Hayne's not having a great night out. We had Richard Mitchum out early. He's managed to get back going, but he's now the better part of a lap and a half down, so it doesn't matter. 3 wide, are you kidding me on the run to turn 1? And that is for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Tucked, gone! Haynes and Fung Wong. Maybe not on in these conditions. And Fung Wong now drops outside the top 10. Burhop with a 2:17.85. One thing you've got to remember too here, Adam Lavis, is whatever you had that set to in terms of laps, we can just about forget about with the amount of time that we have to lose to the wet weather. We're about 18, 19 seconds slower in the rain than we are in the dry. So we will eventually lose a couple of racing laps here potentially. 31.5 minutes left on the clock. Jeff Adams in 9th place. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing you Laced Options GT3 in the rain on a Monday night. How good. It'll be interesting to get the driver's account, their take on all of this and exactly how difficult it is out there in these cars, in these conditions.
Well, Burp's just the fastest lap, and it's 16 seconds slower than the end guys are going.
Yeah. So there's your answer. I think, well, it was 11 laps you had set to for the first race. There would have probably been, with another 16 minutes on the clock, another 8 laps added to that. So that would have given us a total of 19, which I don't think is going to happen. And we've just lost our feed, haven't we?
Yeah, I think David Riddell just jinxed me.
I racing crashes aplenty tonight from Dave Riddell. Now, obviously, on that note, I can't do anything, ladies and gentlemen, except sit here and just BS my way through. But then again, I've made a living out of doing that, so this shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Can't bring you any updates to timing at the moment, obviously, because we haven't got the feed. But what I can tell you is that if you come back and join us on Wednesday night this week, ladies and gentlemen, the final week of May for our platforms, week 7 of term 2. Trenton, it is like listening to footy on the radio, but at least the footy commentators can tell you what's going on because they can see. Unfortunately, I'm flying blind right here and now. I have little to no clue as to what's going on, except to tell you that later in the week, come back and join the boys on Wednesday night. They'll take you to Magello for the production cars and the Porsche Cup cars, the 992s. That'll be from 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. The GT4 Challenge then heads on to the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for a 40-minute hit-out. Again, Liam Banks, Daniel Correa with you for that. I'll be in with Daniel on Thursday night. Formula V's coming your way from Virginia International, the North Course of Virginia International. And then, of course, on to the Watkins Glen Classic Boot minus chicane. No chicane on Thursday night for the Super Formula Lights and the Wings and Slicks, but it will be the Grand Prix configuration, the length of the circuit at least. So it's not the short shoot. That'll be Super Formula Lights. It'll be a 40-minute hit out there. Joe Baldwin and Nick Fodiatis back with you on Friday night for the Chicago Street Circuit round of the NASCARs, the SRX NASCARs. So good luck to all and sundry there. Mountain Men this week, of course, in the Williams FW31, if you don't mind. That'll be nice and fast. Sunday, I had been asked to pencil in Nick's birthday bash, Adam Lavis, but I'm not sure what the hell's going on there. Whether we're actually saddling up for the traditional Indy 125 or not. But if we are, then great, because Indy Fever is very much alive and well after what we saw at the Brickyard in the early hours of this morning, which was a nice breakfast start for those of us on the eastern seaboard, and just before 5 a.m. for those of you on the west coast, and went through till about 10 a.m. and then flicked over to NASCAR. The Motorsport Marathon just rolled on, and if you were good enough to be able to... Oh, we've got pictures back from Japan, ladies and gentlemen. Have a look at that. I've been known for my ability to pad. I've had to work very hard for it there. Have a look at that. So the track is still wet. The racing still very much on in earnest here. Ashton Hartley, 2:17.126, the fastest lap of the race. Matty Dench moved himself up into 6th spot whilst we were away. Ryan Mulder and Adam Burhoff, 2nd and 3rd. So something's happened to Burhoff. But we're none the wiser as to what it was. I'm waiting for Graham Stewart to weigh in and tell us exactly what it was. In the meantime... But yeah. Yeah. Well, Fred Carmen's out. Dane Snadden is out. Andrew, trouble there for Chook Fung Wong. He's 2nd off of the night. And David Dell was talking about dropouts. Andrew Neal's fallen victim to it, hence his comment in the YouTube thread. He should be out there on the racetrack. And look at the old experienced head of Harry Aristarchus now inside the top 10. Ardley, Mulder, Burhop, Foster, Johnson, Dench, Roney, and then Oliver, Calm, and Anastakis, the top 10 here. Monday night motorsport on the platforms with Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, and of course, as soon as we're done here, post-race show, and then ZW is off to watch Home and Away and Have You Been Paying Attention? So it's a good Monday night, and there's no doubt about that. Normal programming has resumed after a couple of weeks away. Ardley 2:17.14, 2:17.12 now, showing us the fastest drive of the race. We're on lap 5. It's the 12th minute of 37. We anticipated around that 2:17 marker, plus a splash and dash for fuel. So what's that going to get us to? Oh, trouble! Paul Wood in the wall. Goes to the outside of 130R. We'll look to limp it back to pit lane. We are in that window, I think, where you can stop and get home, but barely. And Wood is crabbing after this. Oh, just sent him hard right. Must have aquaplaned or something.
Apparently, Woodsy's found a way to make those monitor hinges a bit better. The bump busted on that time.
If I'm being tactful here, ladies and gentlemen, with the two, I'm going to round it up to 220 just to make calculations a little bit easier. Or I could round it back to 215 and probably get the same result. 217.126. So if I was to round that up to 220, that's 3 laps every 7 minutes, and which would give us 15 in 35, and then a 16th lap to get us to the checkered flag. If I was to do 215 in the same calculations, in the same time frame, that'd be 4 laps every 9 minutes, 16 in 36, and 1 left over to get you to 17 with that splash and dash. So what am I saying? I'm saying 16 or 17 laps instead of the previously scheduled 19 for this round of the championship. Actually, I stand corrected, Adam Lovis. I only had it scheduled for 18, so goes to show how much I read the rundown. But yes, 16 or 17 is where my numbers sit at the moment. Just depends on where that pace, whether they maintain that pace. Trouble. Greg Heaney's involved. I think Matt Schmidtke might have been caught up in that as well. On the run down to 130R. Oh, sorry, to the spoon curve, I should say.
And he's just got the grass. Yeah, it's
He got clouded on the way through by his teammate. Absolutely polar. Richard Mitchum. Fastest lap of the race, 2:16.685. Andrew Hazard now showing off the road. Schmidtke had nowhere to go. He had no view.
Well, he had a long time to react there and didn't, so...
Yeah. David Johnson being passed. Goes back to 7th. On the run down to turn 1, as Magnus Roney makes light work of him. Ardley Mulder, 1.3 the margin. Oh, have a look at this. Have a look at this. Burhops drops some ground there. Dench goes through. So does Roney. Burhop back to 6th. Then Johnson, then Oliver, then Cowler. It's a 6-car freight train for 6th, and that's what happened to Adam Burhop. Oh, turn 1. Claims another victory. Pit stop's already underway as well. Oh dear, Magnus Roney loses his spot in the top 10. Jeff Adams has already been in. Jared Knight, Greg Heaney, Matt Schmidtke. All on pit road right now. Richard Mitchum's already been there. We know that with his issues. And he's hoping to do it on one stop from here. Having come in for that splash and dash. Once he was able to rejoin the server, he is now only sitting half a lap down. It'll be some sort of an effort if he can.
Well, the thing is,
that minute.
The thing is though, with the fact that they're going 16 seconds a lap slower, and its track isn't very much full throttle anyway, some of these guys might think they can stretch it with no stopping here. So, with the fact that it's raining the whole race.
That is what it's saying, that it will rain the whole race?
Possibly. Oh, Burhop's gone off again.
Burhop again. Oh, dear. And slippery wheels for Burhop tonight. Ardley, Mulder, then Foster, Dench, Johnson, Oliver, Cowham, Anastakis, Collins, and Fung Wong the top 10. Burhop is 11th, Chiplin is 12th, Roney, Haynes, Piper, and Edwards the top 16. Then Hooper, Fever, then Wood, King, Humphreys, Bernays, Adams, Knight, Wooden, and Mitchum take us back to 26th. Heaney and Schmidtke still on pit road. Heaney now getting back out. Schmidtke still on pit road, remembering they don't have fast repairs in the pro split. And Burhop and Roney to pit lane right now. So some are having their hand forced in terms of transiting the lane. Others are trying to go long, trying to stretch it out. We did see in another wet race that we've had, or in another mixed weather race that we've had in recent times, that that fuel tank has been able to be stretched somewhat. I mean, when was the last time we had wet weather in GT3? We had a 90-minute race earlier in the year, didn't we?
We had a little bit of the end of Bathurst, and I think there was. I think it was
Did we have a 90-minute race where one stop was possible because of rain?
I don't think so.
Was that last season? No, the end of last term at Spa.
Oh, maybe the end of season.
Yeah. Because the times were significantly slower, so therefore we were able to go one stop at Spa. That's right. Oh dear, Richard King off and out. So don't be surprised if they stretch this.
I think he's already got damage.
Further. And don't be surprised if we go to that 17-lap marker based on the pace we're seeing. Ardley's fallen back into the clutches of Mulder and Foster as we rejoin live pictures from Japan. It's hosing down. It's a beautiful sight. The sun is trying to poke through and set in the background, so the headlights will probably be on here at the end, as we're heading towards about 6:15 server time before this thing wraps up. Maybe even 6:20. Clock moving twice as fast as it would in the real world, of course. 18.5 minutes down, 18.5 to go. That's half race distance, ladies and gentlemen. Chiplin under pressure here, trying to hold on to 11th. Does so for the moment. Temporarily, Haynes blasts around the outside as Chuk Fung Wong comes to pit lane. Ardley, Mulder, Foster, Dench and Johnson the top 5. Denchy just sitting there patiently at the moment. 2.8 off the leader, Ardley. 2:16.61. Last time round, we're heading back in the right direction with those lap times, 2:16s. So if Denchy keeps punching them out and Mitchum keeps punching them out, we're going to be very much on for, as I say, that's 17 laps instead of the 16 we were originally thinking. The 18 that were originally scheduled and the 16 that we were kind of looking at as a potential number. But again, it depends on pit lane transit. It depends on whether the track gets faster and that's only based on if the track does start to dry in any way, shape or form. But we're not seeing any movement there as yet. It's remaining pretty steady with regards to lap times. But Greg Heaney's back out there a lap down. Dane Bradell as well. Dane Snadden. Matt Schmidtke yet to get back out there. He's been on the tow rope for 5 minutes. He's in pit lane. Richard King's parked up out of the way. So too Andrew Hazard. So too Paul Wood. That's rare that you see Woodsy retire. Adam Hayne, Andrew Neal and Fred Kahn all done for the night. The field depleted already. Richard Mitchum's back in the points. Richard Mitchum's back in the points in 25th. He's down 15 on where he started, of course. And he's only 22 seconds away from Scott Wooden. And Wooden hasn't stopped yet. And he just needs a couple more cars to run into trouble or a couple more cars to park up. Mitchum might actually salvage a couple of points here. Ardley's about to complete another lap. In the meantime, Mulder's under pressure from Foster. Have a look at this. Ardley's leading. It's the Audi versus the Ferrari for second. The Audi of Matty Dench is zeroing in on them. Johnson is 5th. Callum is 6th. Callum's up 11 spots on where he started. Edwards is up 14. Hooper's up 10. Shannon Fever's up 19 spots from 34th in the grid. And Jack Humphries is up 14. They're the big movers of the night so far, Jared. Knight respecting the 13 position gain despite a splash and dash at the end of lap 6 there. 13 positions gained for 90 up to 23rd. That's 11 actually on corrected order because he wouldn't have started 36th considering that we had 2 withdrawals before we got going. And on that subject, just to answer Rocket's question, this is the Pro Series that we're bringing you at the moment. Uh-oh, Dave Riddell. Could be nice. Could be nice. And have a look at this live. This is Ash Collins trying to hold on to 9th. Just have a look at the spray splashing into the windscreen of the car behind in Oscar Haynes. Whoa, Ash Collins has had a lose. You were riding on board with him for it. Ash Collins has had a lose. Oh dear. So that's dropped Collins down to 12th place. We go back to Foster in 3rd. He is following Mulder, trying to defend Dench, and that's what Dench is contending with. Moving to the inside to try and just get a clear view. That clear view disappears as soon as he tucks into the slipstream in the draft because then he's got to get the wipers working overtime, but it's good enough for him to dive to the inside on Foster at the Casino Triangle.
Well, Foster did well there. He actually lost the rear through 130R and managed to save it. Not many people had that option.
No, not at all. So Denchi up to 3rd. The comeback, the charge through the field is on. Already gifted a little bit in the way that his connection didn't misfire when Richard Mitchum's did. Now taking that opportunity, running with it and converting goals. Next target, Ryan Mulder.
Well, he's had back-to-back duds. So had the Bathurst with the muck-up where he put the wet tyres onto the dry track, and then had a bit of a Larry Perkins moment at the pits and crashed in the pit entry, put himself out of the race.
Yep.
And then last week, he actually couldn't get a lap in around the Nords, and then didn't start the race. So he didn't even start the race for the 90-point enduro race last week. So that's 150 points. He's just given up.
Like yep. And you know what the funny thing is? He could still win the thing.
Well, yeah, he's given up 150 points, but he had a championship lead of 1 point now.
Yes. Ardley, Mulder, Dench, and Callum, Johnson, Oliver, Anastakis, Haynes, Chiplin, and Piper the top 10. Top 13 yet to stop. 12, 15 left on the clock. Dench in the 216s, the fastest lap of the race. All top 3 cars in the top in the 217s last time around. It's a BMW leading 2 Audis, 2 Porsches, a Ferrari, 3 Porsches and a Ferrari making up the top 10. So 5 Porsches in the 10, 2 Ferraris, 2 Audis and a BMW. Which leaves the only one outside the top 10 that's represented in the field is the Lamborghini. There's only 5 manufacturers out of the potential 8 that we've got at our disposal at the moment in the field. That becomes 9 at the start of next term, of course, ladies and gentlemen. Very excited to see what Corvette's going to bring to the table here. reinvents the wheel in GT3 circles, no doubt about that. First time that we'll have had a new manufacturer drop in a while. Not the first time we've had a new car, but to get two of them in one hit and out. Oh, Ashton Ardley from the lead. Ashton Ardley from the lead has had a moment at one. And he couldn't save it. He's rejoined in third, but he's 3 seconds down on these two. Ryan Mulder takes the lead for Whiskey Business. And Matty Dench, the team PGZ, is now second. The comeback is nearly complete. But yeah, it's exciting because obviously we'll have a new circuit or two drop next term as well. And we've got both the Ford Mustang on the way, which will phase out the GT, which will be in the light of just about everybody that's a Ford fan. And then, of course, we will have the new manufacturer, the Corvette. That so many exciting things to look forward to, not least, of course, the continued addition of wet weather and next term weather platforms, the GSRC. And that's the thing now, I guess, with iRacing. They're making their work easier for them because whilst they're going through and backdating the catalogue and making sure that those cars that do race in the rain and are eligible to have rain tyres, etc., and they're updating those rain models, those rain servers, anything new that gets rolled out, they can just automatically make sure that it's got that wet weather infrastructure in place already. So lots to be excited about in the iRacing virtual racing world going forward. Jared Knight down the inside to 18. Jeff Adams wants to force the issue and does so successfully.
So I think the track is at that sort of like light to medium wet stage. There's not too many puddles around. It's just a nice sort of even spread of rain. So when in this sort of conditions, the guys actually can like push on a little bit because the track sort of does, although it's less grip, it's not. You don't have those surprising zero grip spots with the puddles. So you can sort of race it basically like a normal race car. You just got to back up the. Oh, it's crashed again.
Oh dear, we're gone again. We've just lost the feed a second time. We'll take a break on that note, folks. We'll hopefully bring you the conclusion of the race on the other side. We often say our coverage of GSRC competition is live and commercial free for you, ladies and gentlemen. That hasn't been the instance tonight, unfortunately. Just some ongoing little gremlins in the system that are being enjoyed by a few of our competitors, but also by a couple of our staff that are working behind the scenes as well. Adam Lavis has been booted twice tonight. Trouble in the background. Jared Knight with a spin. Unlucky. So we've got our fingers crossed that we can bring in the final 5 minutes of this feature. And at the front, Matty Dench. Doesn't look like he's all that interested in stopping at the moment. And by the way, there goes 33 minutes now. We are inside that threshold. Last time around 2 minutes 40.306. So either the rain's come back with a vengeance or they've been into the pit lane and we've not been able to track it because of the fact that we got booted out of the server. But Matty Dench is bringing this field to the white flag next time by if my numbers are correct. So let's just keep an eye on that. But it does actually look, if anything, Adam Lavis, the rain looks slightly worse than what it was, or the track conditions look like they've deteriorated since we were last here.
Yeah, the puddles have started to grow.
So it could be column A, it could be column B. And it's going to keep everybody on their toes for the last couple of minutes here. This is what happened to Scott Wooden. Yeah, those puddles are definitely getting bigger, no doubt about that. Not the size of what we saw at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this morning, of course, but still big. Ashton Ardley off at turn one again. That one a bit more spectacular than the last time. And this is Adam Burhop just doing Adam Burhop things, unfortunately. It's been a night full of spins. In fact, that time around he said, you know what? I'm done. He's had his fair share of moments in this 37 minutes of Adam Burhop. So, Colby Cowan's up in third spot, doing a great job. Thomas Foster, Dave Oliver, fourth and fifth. David Johnson is sixth. Ashton Ardley is seventh. Roni, Fung Wong and Haynes make up the top 10. Ryan Mulder's on track for one of his best ever results in GSRC, if not GT3 Pro, certainly. And beyond all of that, it's the tale of the walking wounded. Burhop's out of business. Snadden, Riddell, Schmidtke, King, Hazard, Wood, Hayne, Neal and Khan. All done. John Benici was a non-starter. There are just 25 cars back out there on the racetrack. 2 of them are a lap down. And Matty Dench should be getting the white flag this time by. Last time around 2:18.826. So he just crossed the line. Bang on 2 minutes to go. We should be on the way home to 16 laps. And I said 16 or 17, didn't I? Depending upon the times. And I was factoring a pit stop into consideration, ladies and gentlemen. Didn't need to do that crap because there's at least a few of these drivers don't look like they're planning on stopping. Unless we've missed pit stops, of course, whilst we were away with that technical glitch. And if that's the case, then 16 makes a lot more sense then. So, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Matty Dench is going to get the round win tonight. Ryan Mulder in for second. And that's actually a really nice performance from Ryan. Adam Lavis gifted the pole position off the invert system. The invert top 10 for this second race. That's a real solid conversion from him to keep it on the black stuff, stay at the pointy end and bring it home in second place. Sometimes you just got to make the most of those opportunities when they're given to you.
Yeah, that's the whole spirit of the reverse grid. It gives those guys a bit of a leg up and a chance to get a good result. And he's taken it with both hands and got himself a podium here if he gets across the line. And not only gets across the line with a possible podium, inside of Denchi.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 1.5 seconds inside of Denchi. Got to hold off Colby Cowan in the last few corners, though. 23 seconds on the clock.
Kobe!
Oh, Cow, I'm nearly threw it away. But that might just be exactly what Ryan Mulder needs to keep the pressure off on the run to the finish line. Denchi's on his way to the checkered flag. Another race win coming up for M. Dench. Andrew Neal asking us not to jinx Ryan. We nearly jinxed Colby while talking about Ryan. Sun setting in Japan, the land of the rising sun. It's not visible today. The clouds have taken over. The racetrack soaked, but Denchi still finds a way to the top step of the summit after a rough 2 weeks. Denchi's back on top. Round win, and a much-needed one at that.
Oh, it's going to be close here.
Second. Colby Cowan, Thomas Foster, Dave Oliver in for 5th. Oh, hang on. 3 wide around the outside. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Oscar Haynes? Oscar Haynes goes to 6th around the outside of Arthur and Johnson on the final lap, and Roney held on for 9th. Chook Fung Wong was 10th. Get out of town. Let's have a look at this again. What about the run from Oscar Haynes? Oh, there was contact. It was Johnson getting collected by Ardley.
Oscar, oh, I crashed again.
Oh, for God's sake. It's happened again. That's the hat trick, Adam. Next time I take half a night off, just remind me about tonight, and I'll take the full night off, I think. And I'll get Banksy to do the fill-in shift in full, shall I? Fair income. We will endeavour to show you that replay again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure. No, we won't be able to, will we? No,
but
we've been booked.
But we just saw, that's a bit sort of what we tell you. He's got 4 cars in the last 3 corners because 2 of them made a mistake at 130. He got them, and then while David and Ashton were fighting over position through the casino, was it the Casio Triangle? He's just snagged them around the outside and got them as well. So he'll be very chuffed for that, even though he'll be a bit upset with these little spins that cost himself to win, but he'll be chuffed for that little last lap effort.
Absolutely, he will be. Magnificent stuff. Really good racing, wet weather and all, and the odd technical grumbling and all at our end that deprived us the chance to bring you the thing in full. But it was good stuff. Really good stuff. Looking forward to some real-world motorsport this weekend as well, ladies and gentlemen. On the back of what we've just had, NASCAR continues, IndyCar continues, Formula One continues as well. And then, of course, well, actually, hang on, no, I might have spoken out of place there. I think Formula One's got a week off before going to Canada. So Canada the next stop, and then Spain. That's the difference from last year. So a fortnight off for Formula One, but MotoGP is at least back this week. There's also some inverted commas national level motorsport out at Morgan Park this weekend. Just a couple of national categories at a glorified state meeting, if you don't mind me saying so. We're not far off, of course, from the return of the Australian Superbike Championship, among other things as well. So a lot to look forward to, a lot to be excited about, and of course, one race meeting of particular interest and particular importance that I want to highlight that I cannot forget to mention, that's back this weekend as well, folks, is of course the Shannon Speed Series and TCR Australia. If you like your motorsport, then on Saturday morning I'll be interviewing the one and the only Ryan Casher on West Bromwich Radio, and it'll be airing at about 11 o'clock, so make sure you tune in for that one. In the meantime, Greg Henty's been kind enough to join us, and thankfully, here's Dave Dench, by the way, just commenting, very well done to Matt Dench, a sprint round and wet race, and still managed a clean sweep. Yep. I mean, Mitchum got him in race 1, but yes, he wins the round, he gets the job done, and of course, he's looking good for title number 10 right now. Greg Heaney probably very happy with the fact that the sim world is a lot drier than what it looked on the racetrack there tonight. Greg, unfortunately, your teammate Matt Schmidtke won't be exchanging Christmas cards with you, though.
No, and what was worse was I had a minute and a half optional. He copped the meatball.
Yeah. Oh no.
He had about 8 odd minutes worth, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was I think I just ended up running slightly wide, trying to stay on the dry line, and just didn't realise how far wide I had gone. And round I went, and Matty was not too far behind me, but I know Andrew Neal, his PC crashed twice, once during race 1, then once during race 2. So he unfortunately was unable to hang around for race 2, so he had the stream going, and I could kind of hear it. And he was giving us a little bit of commentary as to what you guys were talking about. And he's like, they're laughing at you, Matt, because you had plenty of time to react. Though when Matty was telling us what happened, he said he couldn't see anything but spray.
Yeah, and that looks like that might have been the case from where we
Well,
were sitting.
we were on the roof cam, so we probably had a bit less spray than we had inside the car. But like, yeah, from the roof cam, you could easily see you're off the side of the track.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Driving in the rain is fun, but geez, it's hard work.
Yep.
Ryan made mention, I think it was race 1, maybe race 1? Or it could have been race 2, I don't know. He's like, I've never had to concentrate so hard in my life.
It is a different challenge, isn't it? Because the car's behaving so differently, you've got to drive it so differently, and that, as you say, it's a tax, mentally speaking, on you guys, because for so long we've just hopped into the sim, we've known that it's going to be dry, so you get into the rhythm, wash, rinse, repeat. Now we throw the wet weather at you, and all of a sudden it becomes a real grind.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, but it also levels the playing field a bit too. I'll admit I had a good little battle going on with, I think Woodsy was in there, and I think him and I had a little bit of a trading of paints at some point through 130R and then through the chicane, and I know he backed out of it and said kind of sorry for it, and I was like, well, I mean, no harm, no foul. We were still both pointing in the right direction, but I think he let me have the place back. But yeah, no, it was through my own fault was why I ended up down the field, but look, it is what it is.
There are the results just quietly from the feature race for you, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, given that we got booted from the server, we weren't exactly able to show you the results there. What you're watching on screen now is a replay of race 1 of the AM split, I do believe. So, Matty Dench, Ryan Mulder, Colby Cowam, Thomas Foster, Dave Oliver, Oscar Haynes, Ashton Ardley, David Johnson, Magnus Roney, and Adam Chiplin, the top 10. Ash Collins, Jonathan Hooper, Michael Edwards, Harry Anastakis, and Daniel Piper just outside. We'll just scroll down a little bit further and find out where Mr. Heaney wrapped up there. Please, Mr. Lavis, well done. It was Shannon Fever in 16th, Jared Knight, Chukpung Wong, Jeff Adams, Jack Humphreys making up the top 20. Richard Mitchum got back to 21st, then Dave Bernays. Bernays, Scott Wood, and Greg Heaney, and Nick Wood made up the finishing order. And Adam Burhop just outside. Disappointing for you, mate, that it was only 24th. But in saying that, as you say, the wet weather's a great equaliser. In saying that, the class of the field still found its way to the top. Matty Dench in fine form tonight.
Oh, when is he not?
Well, the last 2 weeks.
Well, I don't think he's been there, I think. But no, Matty can steer. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. His ability in the sim is insane. As I say that, as he joins the channel here with us in blue. I'm not pumping up his tyres anymore because I don't think he needs it. But
you don't have to.
No. He, I mean, look, if we're all like that, you guys would have an absolute ball on the stream. It'd be hammer and tong at every corner.
What about Ryan Mulder for you tonight, mate? I mean, that was a really impressive performance from him in that second race. 10th in race 1, sent to the front for race 2, and stayed there with the exception of Denchi.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know he. I think he said I couldn't even lead a lap, or I'm not sure if that's what he said, or if it was something along those lines, because he said he had an oops on at the Degners on lap 1 on race 2. But no, very well done to Ryan for getting second and 10th in the first one after having a couple of weeks off with other commitments. But no, and so onwards and upwards with the rest of the boys. Unfortunately, Aiden and Jackson couldn't make it again tonight, but hopefully they're here for next week. And hopefully I'm here for next week as well, and hopefully the week after, because Joy's a moving house soon, maybe.
Oh, yes. I believe you did detail that last time we caught up with you. On the subject, let's have a look at what's left as far as Waste Options GT3 is concerned, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, Road Atlanta, and I can't think of a much better racetrack for sprint racing than Road Atlanta, Greg. I'm looking forward to that already.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. it's good in the dry. I haven't tried it in the wet, so who knows what the weather gods have brought for us for that one. It would be very interesting in the wet, especially to run up the hill and across the top, and then coming down through the S's. That'll be a shopping centre car park, I think.
Indeed. I mean, tonight we heard that it was absolutely hosing down for race 1 as well, so it looks as though it didn't really relent for race 2. Just talk us through the challenges of race 1, mate, because we were watching the Amboys.
Oh yeah, race 1 was it didn't let up at all. Race 2 started with a bit of a very, very light sprinkling. Kind of eased off maybe a third of the way through, 2/3 of the way through, and then started to come back again for like the last 6 or so laps. So we got a little bit of a reprieve in race 2, as you would have seen on the stream. But yeah, race 1 it was hosing the whole thing.
Yeah. Barely got a reprieve because it was still fairly wet out there, mate. Fairly challenging. But as you say, it is the great equaliser. From a personal standpoint, where are you at with it, and how comfortable are you with it, or is it still a work in progress?
Oh no, I'm comfortable with it. It's just a matter of finding where the grip is and trying to stay where the grip is the fun part. I did practice laps. I don't think the track was anywhere near as wet as it was tonight with the practice that I was doing. And I was keeping it on the road lap after lap after lap, and I was going faster than what I was tonight, but obviously with a little bit more water on the road, even with the number of cars on the track, I still couldn't quite get to the point where I was during my practice sessions, but I'll get there eventually.
Indeed. And as you say, hopefully the rest of the stable are out in force next week. Unfortunate for you and Matt tonight, mate, but at least you were able to get back out there, and because you did, you salvaged 1 or 2 championship points. But I bet you're looking forward to seeing where things sit now that we've reached that critical number. We've reached round 7, and drop rounds come into the equation.
Oh look, I'm at this point. I mean, yes, I placed fairly high up in the previous season with the Audi. I thought, well, I'll try something different this season, go with the Lambo. I probably could have stayed with the Audi. Maybe have been just a touch faster. I mean, I think it's the car more than me, but it could be a bit of both. So look, I mean, I'll finish where I finish. If I finish inside the top 15, 16, I'll be happy. I don't think I'm going to nudge the top 10 this season. Bring on next season in the Corvette, and we'll see how we go.
All right, very nicely done. I'm not sure if I've got any. Oh, actually, I do have one more question for you. So obviously your pit stop was forced to repair some damage there. What about everybody else? Did there end up having to be a pit stop in that race for the front runners, Greg? Because at the end of the day, and I'm basically specifically referring to Ryan in your instance, your teammate, because when we dropped out, there weren't too many pit stops that had taken place, and then when we rejoined, it looked as though there might have been some pit stops that we may have missed.
Yeah, Scully had to make, I think he had to make a splash and dash. I'm not entirely sure how long he was in the pits for, but he did have to go through. I think it may have been only for maybe like 2 to 2.5 laps worth of fuel, so not a huge amount, just to get him through to the end. So,
all right. Very nicely done, mate. Thank you for that. Well done. At least you, unlike a few others who parked it up and caught an early shower, at least you were able to get through to the end. I guess that's the other thing as well. Before I let you go, mate, I should ask you, Thursday night Super Formula. Considering that you've had a fairly solid, strenuous workout here, you'd be hoping for a dry race on Thursday night in Super Formula.
Oh, look, I don't mind the Super Formulas in the wet. But yes, it certainly does make it a lot more interesting when you have your bum parked a little bit closer to the road. And yes, the car has more downforce than a GT, but you also have a little bit more pace than the GTs as well. And no ABS is always rather interesting in the wet. So.
All right, very nicely done, mate. Thank you for that. We'll let you go at this point because I want to speak to the 9-time champ here because we haven't had him in for a little while. There's probably a reason for that. Greg, great to catch up with you as always, mate. Thanks for that.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
We'll catch up with him on Thursday night. I'm a little bit surprised at how quickly he exited stage left as well. I thought he might have wanted to hear from 9-time as well. Matty, nice to have you back, my friend. The last couple of weeks, a distant memory after a performance like that. Well done.
Yeah, it's good to be back. We've just been trying to catch those early Z's for work in the morning, but yeah, thought we'd pop in and say hello.
Well, you need to, because you're only at a 1 point advantage coming into this round of the championship, mate. Thankfully, you've prevailed with the best performance of the lot when you look at those relative to you on the points table. And 90's had a shocker, and Richard Mitchum got an internet packet loss. It's been an interesting night. In saying that, what happened at Mount Panorama, please? I wasn't here for that one. And then, why didn't we see you line up on the grid for the Nordschleife?
I've been taking a grid and go approach to the season this time round. So yeah, last week at the Nürburgring, I tried a few laps in practice and could not get around the track without dying. So I just threw in the towel for that one. But at Bathurst, we forgot to put on the wet setup. So we had the wet setup on, and we forgot to change to the dry. And when I pitted the second time, I overshot the entry and put it into the tyre wall and blew up the car. So that one was done and dusted.
Not the first time Bathurst has bitten you hard either. Must have been nice to get back into form tonight, mate. Suzuka and the rain. Greg Keeney was saying that it's a fairly mental workout. How do you find it?
Very interesting, because doing the grid and go approach, it was dry in practice, dry in qualifying, and bucketing down in race one. So I was like, yeah, how much grip is out there? And we just tiptoed around, and then I got a little bit overconfident with the car and drove it off the track, and Richard followed straight off behind. So.
Were you expecting it to be that wet throughout the course of the night?
It looked like race one was going to be bucketing down the whole time, looking at the forecast there. But race two, I thought it might dry up a little bit, but it kind of stopped and then just started again, so the track stayed just wet enough.
Indeed, it did. It was quite interesting from our standpoint in the commentary box as well, because it does reinvent the wheel. For you, though, you didn't get away from the pack. Young Ryan Mulder kept you honest, and you really had to chip away at it, work hard to get yourself to the front in the first place, mate.
Yeah, I think I haven't done too many rain races, so like fuel saving behind people, and then you get a bit of clear track, and then all of a sudden you're 2 litres short on fuel, so you got to save again. And yeah, we just sort of like nursed it home, and just got home with enough fuels.
All right, very nicely done. Road Atlanta next week. A, will we see you on the grid? And B, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, we'll definitely be there. I haven't driven the Audi around there, so if I do the grid and go approach, it'll be pretty interesting. But I think we might need to chuck a couple cheeky laps prior to that one, just to make sure we can get around turn one.
All right, very nicely done. What are you making of the Tempest weather system, mate? I mean, obviously, as we say, it's still relatively new. Getting your head around that's one thing. For you pick up where you left off. The form's, it doesn't matter whether in the dry or in the wet, you've still got the form. But I mean, the boys have been saying that it is a little bit harder in terms of just how much energy it takes out of you throughout the hour, because of the extra concentration required, and how different a game or a playing field it is compared to the usual procedure, just rocking up in the dry and going through the motions. Are you happy with where you're at with your wet weather performances?
I mean, we can definitely improve in the wet for sure. It does take a lot of concentration. There's a lot of wheel work going on, a lot of pedal work. You can't really just rely on the ABS and the traction control, and yeah, there's so much that goes into it. I think the most I like about the Tempest weather system is when it'll be like raining and then go to dry and then start again, and it's just the track's always changing. It's a lot of fun.
I like that he describes it as a lot of fun, because when Dentchi's having fun, you're seeing performances like what he punched out this evening. Can't let you go, Dentchi, without getting a little bit of analysis from you on how excited you must be that there are going to be a couple of new toys to play with in GT3 next season.
I'm a little disappointed there's no McLaren coming that I've heard of yet. So once that one comes, we'll be very excited, I think.
However, the Mustang and the Corvette in the meantime, and I mean, no one's obviously by virtue of the fact that it's never been in the server, no one's yet to win a GT3 championship in the Corvette, and you were saying some time ago that you'd wait for the Mustang to come in to replace the GT so that you could have a crack at winning it in Ford.
Yeah, I think I like the look of the Corvette over the Mustang, so we might jump in that and have a little steer and see how it goes.
Start in the Corvette and then work your way to the Mustang. I mean, you've got 2 seasons left after this one, Dentchi. As far as 2024 is concerned, we can chalk up a bit more success just yet, I'm sure, much to the grave disappointment of the opponents around you who must be used to rocking up here on a Monday night and expecting you to tear it to shreds, which you did. We mentioned fuel usage already. Tyre wear's not really a factor in this wet weather. What about contending with the traffic in the early stages there, mate? Because when we throw you back to row 5, we know that you have a checkered history with those invert races.
Yeah, I think with it being wet, I don't really want to be too wide with anyone. So yeah, we just sort of chill, and I think I only made one overtake the whole race. Everything else was either pit stop or people spinning out. So yeah, we just took it nice and easy and just cruised along.
Cruise along you did. It was a very nice performance all the way to victory lane tonight, Dentchi. What about round 9? I mean, obviously we'll catch up with you next week for round 8, but round 9, 60 minutes around the Algarve circuit, Portimão. Have you had a crack on Portimão yet, and do you like that track?
I have not brought it. I have not seen it. I have I had no idea about it. So yeah, that's we'll probably chuck a couple of laps in Road Atlanta to get turn 1 sorted, and then we'll have to sit out for an hour and try and learn the new track up.
An hour. That's all. That's the only time frame he's put on it, ladies and gentlemen. And everybody here knows that it doesn't take this guy too long to get pretty well switched on with a new bit of real estate. Dentchi, nice to catch up with you, mate. Hopefully we'll catch up with you at the Road Atlanta round post-race. I mean, having a chat in the server here. Looking forward to it at least at one point down the line when we go back to Nürburgring 24 to the Nordschleife, maybe seeing you on the circuit. I was excited at one point there, Dentchi. I thought he's down the back of the grid. He's going to burn from the stern. He's going to try and work his way through the field, and then all of a sudden it was just a DNS. So hopefully we'll get you back onto the Nordschleife somewhere down the line, mate. Go well.
Yeah, there was literally one corner that was for the Audi for me. It was just like ice. You try to turn and it just reared a straight round. So it's like all packing.
All right, very nicely done, mate. Great to catch up with you. Well done again tonight, and all the best for the final 3 rounds of the championship.
Thanks. We'll see you next.
Indeed, you will. We've lost one member of the post-race cohort here, and I didn't see who skipped out. I just saw that someone skipped out. Feature race results. Have a look at that, ladies and gentlemen. How sweet's redemption for Aaron Russell. Very nicely done. 201.154. So that tells you that they didn't get any rain at all in the AM server tonight. They got to 18 laps, so they got 2 more than what we got in here. And Aaron Russell led the field home from Adam Bryant, Bobby Camo, Liam Amos, and Adam Hennessy, the top 5. Eduardo Zamora, Stephen Gallacher, the race 1 winner, Benjamin Lavender, Janis Shragwani, and also Andrew Franklin, the top 10. Let's now hear from Kurt Nomanson, Dave Oliver, and Ashton Ardley as well. Ashton, so close.
Yeah, I just have big lack of experience in the rain. I'm happy with that I did well, but I'm also disappointed that I was leading and I just threw it away twice, just by 1 corner, puddle on the outside. But yeah, it was pretty disappointing, but I'm glad I did somewhat well. Top 10, pretty good for me, I guess.
Indeed, two big slides for you, one bigger than the other, but still, turn one was your Achilles heel tonight in that second race.
Yeah. Well, I was doing wet practice. I only did a little bit. I thought the race would be mostly dry, but I was completely wrong. Both races were bucketing rain. So, but also the condition changes wasn't very good for me. I couldn't really get used to it. Lack of experience. But no, I just need more practice for next time.
Indeed. Let's talk about a couple of things. Firstly, the BMW. It looked good. It was going along nicely. But talk to me about the challenges you face, as you say, still trying to get to grips with, and still trying to get your head around racing in the rain, mate. As Greg Heaney said, and I'm trying to elaborate on it with all drivers here. It's a completely different kettle of fish. It's a completely different beast to racing in the dry. Your brain gets a far bigger workout.
Yeah, it sort of reminded me of the Nordschleife, where you just have to concentrate at all times. And I think just with the Beamer, it's got really good launches, which I was happy with. That's where I gained most of my time, especially at the tight hairpin halfway through the lap. I always pulled like 3-4 tenths away from everyone through there. But no, I mean, I'm happy with the BMW. I think it's a car I'd stick with for next season even. It's a pretty balanced car and quick as well. So, yeah.
And, well, it's interesting you're talking about sticking with the BMW for next season when there's new machinery launching. Are you tempted to go and have a dabble in the Ford and the Corvette even before you commit to the BMW, mate?
Yeah, I think that's yet to be decided. I think I'll probably put more practice in the Mustang. I prefer front-engine cars compared to rear or mid-engine. Just it's my sort of driving style, I guess. It matches. But no, I'll definitely give it a try. But the Beamer is definitely always there if I'm not happy with anything else.
Well, that's exactly right. What are your thoughts on next week when we get to Road Atlanta?
I haven't got too much practice there. None at all, I think. But in other cars, I've tried it. But turn one's always a bit of a tricky one, but the rest of the lap's pretty good. So I'll put some time into it and I'll see if I'm up to pace compared to other people.
All right, and what else is on the racing agenda for this week, please?
Well, to my knowledge, nothing.
Okay.
I've got a job now, so that's a few days a week off. But no, I'll have a look at the calendar, see if there's anything I can just pop in and race in, just for fun.
Just for fun. I like it. It's been a while since we've done anything just for the hell of it, just for fun. And I guess the other question I've got for you is when you look at the two events ahead. I mean, obviously it's back-to-back sprint rounds, and then we go to Portimão, and then we go to Road America. So you've got distinctly different racetracks to finish the season, and 3 different formats to go with it.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty happy with the sprint race format. You get a chance, you get a second chance, reverse grid in top 10. So it gives you a shot at a podium or a win, which was in my favour today. But yeah, in the endurance racing as well, it's good fun because you got to concentrate, and it's just all about getting to.
All right. My screen's just frozen, so I'm not sure what's going on. Sorry, Adam. Oh, you got me? Okay, good. My screen's frozen, but if you can still hear me, then that's the main thing. Actually, it might actually be the on-screen vision itself that's frozen, because I just saw the GSRC banner at the top of the screen, shift gears. So that's okay. Beautifully done. Nicely picked up. Ashton, we'll let you go, mate. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Go well for the rest of the season, eh?
Yep, thanks, you too.
Kurt Normanson, I'm flying a little bit blind, mate. I don't have any results in front of me. Just talk to me about how your 2 races fared in GT3, please.
Had a okay race 1, P20 to I think P15 or 16, so up a few spots, and then proceeded to improve again for the second race and just outside the top 10 with a P11. So I'm very happy with my performance tonight, increasing pace as I go around every lap.
And the wet weather, how challenging was that for you? Not just in terms of the racecraft and driving in those conditions, but also as the boys have already said, having to be switched on and thinking every second of every lap because it's such a novelty.
Yeah, so we didn't get any rain in AM for either races, so we went dry for both, but still the track itself just you've got to be thinking the whole time. The only time you can really relax is going up towards 130R. Even then, it's not much time to relax. You're still thinking the whole time, thinking a couple of corners ahead to make sure you don't make a mistake and pay for it over the next sector.
Well, that's exactly right, and easier said than done, because as you would have seen, mate, you would have been the beneficiary of a couple of people, quite a few people actually, coming unstuck at 130R.
Definitely, and I probably could have finished a bit higher in that first race if I didn't run into the side of the other car and get a bit of damage, but that's racing, and soldier on and keep going for the next race. So hopefully next week I'll do a bit better around Road Atlanta.
What are your thoughts on that as a racetrack, firstly?
I love Road Atlanta. I did the IMSA and the GTP there. I love running the GT3s around there. That is a track that I'll definitely be happy to run around and hopefully do a bit better, maybe fight for a top 10 on outright pace this time.
Sorry, Kurt, I'm not laughing at you, mate. I'm enjoying what you're talking about, but I'm laughing at Jared Knight.
I did see that comment.
Have a look at the... Can we screenshot that and frame it, please? I think these issues are trying to tell you that we shouldn't come back to Suzuka. We all know how much Nighty loathes Suzuka with a passion. There's people that loathe Kota. There's Nick Fo, the artist that's the leader of the I Hate Sebring International fan club. And then, of course, Jared Knight at Suzuka. Fantastic stuff. Sorry, I part missed what Kurt was saying because I was too busy having a look at Nighty's comment there. But in saying that, yeah, Road Atlanta offers some interesting challenges. Then Portimão as well, mates. And then, of course, on to Road America, which is apparently another circuit we overuse too much, according to some people. But what are you hoping to take out of those 3 rounds as a whole? I mean, obviously, it's one thing to focus on Road Atlanta, but let's think big picture here. There's only 3 Monday nights to go, and then we get a 2-week break. What are your thoughts?
Well, at the moment, I'm probably just focusing on consistent points. I am very close to potentially just the back end of the top 10, and that'd be it for my season. I'd be happy with the top 10, so if I could just get consistent points, I'll be happy with my drive this season, and hopefully come back next season even stronger.
And the last one I've got for you, apart from asking you about the rest of the week, which I'll do in a moment, I don't think I got a chance to ask you about your thoughts on Ford and Corvette, the updated cars, the new cars that are coming into the server, the Mustang and the Corvette.
I'm really excited for the Mustang. I'll probably end up with both so I can do endurance races with other people. I love doing the Enduros, but yeah, definitely really excited about the Mustang, and that'll probably be my car of choice for next season, so hopefully it's half decent and can compete and I can drive it properly. That's the main thing.
Yeah, iRacing's certainly got my interest for the next season already sorted, because, I mean, at the end of the day, the Tempest weather system's one thing, but GT3's needed a refresh for a little while, of course. We've gone for such a long period of time with these 8 manufacturers. We needed a 9th to come to the table, and I think everyone's happy to see the Ford GT put on the back burner. It's still there, you can still use it, but obviously the Mustang's going to be given preferential treatment in the foreseeable future. What's on the agenda for you for the rest of the week? We'll be seeing you Thursday night, I believe, won't we?
Maybe. I'm thinking about doing the open wheelers, but I'm definitely going to be running Wednesday night. So I'll be in the production cars and the GT4 up in the air about Thursday night, just because I have to wake up at again, the 4 o'clock start for Friday morning, so very much up in the air on if I do Thursday night yet or not.
All right, very nicely done. I mean, I was told recently by somebody, and this might apply to those of you blokes that are worried about the early start, sleep when you're dead, I was told, which is very morbid sort of advice, but it's very accurate as well.
Yeah, it's very accurate. I've lived by that for a while, but I need sleep to deal with people for 7 hours.
Yeah, no, mate, don't get me wrong. I need sleep to deal with people for 5 minutes, but more than that, I wasn't complaining when the Indianapolis 500 was delayed by 4 hours this morning. Let me tell you, it was good shut-eye time. Kurt, thanks for hanging around and having a chat to us, mate. We do appreciate that. Go well for the rest of the week. We'll check in with you when we can.
Yeah, no worries. I'll see you guys later this week.
You certainly will. Dave Oliver, good evening to you once more. And apologies right off the top. The post-race show won't be anywhere near as entertaining for you this week. But let's talk about a couple of things here. Firstly, your night out, because I didn't see race 1, so I want your thoughts on that. But race 2, very solid performance from you, mate. A nice drive. It would seem as though those fuel save opportunities and those wet weather races are suiting you at the moment.
Hey guys, yeah, it was an interesting night. Wasn't too sure how it was going to go when practice and quali was all dry, and then we were, hit with 2 wet races. So yeah, it was very interesting and nerve-wracking.
So very polar opposite to Bathurst, really, wasn't it? Because Bathurst was the reverse. It was the wet quali, and it was the dry race.
Yeah, and especially with how wet it actually was, and being Suzuka, such an old school track, it's, you just have to be committed the entire time. Like even, you got the back straight and stuff, but you've got 180R to next contend with, so it's not like you can really have a break. So, and with it being so narrow, just trying to play around with wet lines and all that kind of stuff. If you make a mistake, you're off the track. So it's yeah, you definitely got to take it easy and all that, but it's just a matter of staying on the island and going from there. Like I thought we might have had a little bit more of a reprieve for the second race, going by the warm up, but then when it switched over, it was raining again. It wasn't as wet as the first race, but it then got wetter later on.
Indeed. Talk to me about, I mean, obviously you are in your industry, in your craft, in the real world. You're focused every minute of every second that your eyes are glued to your camera, and you're taking happy snaps and working away at racetracks. So talk to me about the differences between that level of concentration required and the level of concentration required in a tricky, dicey conditions like situation like what we had tonight.
Oh, I think it's, I don't know, it's a little interesting the way you put it, but yeah, I don't know, it's just, you can kind of tell, like even when you, take photos, you can kind of, tell, how people's cars are set up and all that. It's more like a slightly after the fact kind of thing. You can, and even from the weekend, I actually had a competitor say, because was able to get photos up on the Saturday, and they've gone, we actually saw the photos in some other vision and actually redid our setup overnight on the Sunday based off that.
Yep.
And so yeah, it's that kind of things. Yeah, it's interesting, and it's yeah, and especially in the weather, it's just like your eyes are like dinner plates. So
This is true. From your standpoint, no doubt you'd be happy with that performance. How do you back that up at Road Atlanta?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. As long as it stays dry, I think Road Atlanta. I get them all confused, but I know we've got them both coming
at that time of night.
We've both got them coming. We got them both coming up. So, I think Road Atlanta's it's very similar to here, where there's a lot of commitment involved, especially certain parts of the track, and yeah, sorry, just laughing at Jared. Yeah, so it's be interesting to go, and especially like the first race was good. Went from 25th and finished 11th, nearly cracked onto the invert, which is it's a I know I haven't had the best results in pro recently, but to be knocking on the door of an invert at a sprint round, that's pretty cool, and then to finish 5th is that's pretty cool. So it was just a case of making sure that you just stay on the track and don't make any mistakes, and unfortunately a few people were had incidents and spun off and stuff, and was able to get past them that way. So yeah, it was pretty cool round.
It'd be remiss of me not to follow up Jared Knight's comment about Datsuns and Motorcars by asking you about APRA at SMP over the weekend. Were you there?
Yeah, I was there. It was
I can't say I engaged with it, only because that'd require giving the broadcaster a hit. But I wasn't prepared to do that, and I had other things on. So please give us some entertaining analysis of what you saw.
Yeah, so it was the 3rd round of the series, and it was a New South Wales date round event. So it was a 2-dayer, which was a little
nice for your invoice book.
Yeah, and it was a little interesting because it was a little bit more time, which was cool. So I was able to actually get the stuff out a little bit quicker because I had a bit more space, a bit more time to get stuff done. And so yeah, pretty much it was like it has been recently. It was Josh Craig clean sweep. He did quali in all 3 races, and Jamie was second for all sessions as well. So those guys have definitely got it on. There was a few other guys that were nipping on their heels, and a few other guys were away, so and weren't at the round. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes in a couple of weeks. Again, back at SMP, it's definitely an SMP fest this year until we go to Wakefield or One or whatever they want to call it this week. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the series goes.
Indeed, it will be. I'll just keep tabs on how it's all going there via social media, via updates from you, and via Natsoft, mate. And looking forward to it immensely. Of course, Motor Racing Australia is only 3 weeks away from their next race meeting as well, which, memo to me, I probably should do a social media post for him about that tomorrow. Very nicely done from you, Mr. Oliver. And any more sim racing this week, please?
See how I go. Might jump on the GT4s at Spa. See how I go, and yeah, go from there.
All right, good stuff. Excellent. Very nicely done. Thanks for stopping on by for a chat tonight. We'll let you go on that note, and look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week.
No worries. Thanks again for the broadcast and for race control.
Absolutely. In fact, we didn't even check in with race control tonight. I didn't see any penalties coming up on the bottom of the screen. Yes. Jared Knight, he was at Sydney Motorsport Park, or in the precinct in the vicinity thereof yesterday, actually, up at the karting circuit with the 4SKA race meeting on there as well. The Robin Ray show, as it's known. So hopefully all went well there as well with the 4SKA brigade, and looking forward to hopefully seeing those guys up in Taree in July. I might actually give the great men a call this week and say, listen, if you want me for Manning and you want me for Newcastle, we'll lock it in, we'll do it. And who knows, after the last couple of weeks and the last couple of years in circuit racing motorsport, maybe I'll just go back to karting permanently and give the middle finger to the other. All right, we're just about done. Let's pay some bills and say some thank yous and give you a rundown of what's to come, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way in hell we'd be able to do what we do here without the great support of the following. Sprite Insider, of course, Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Leipzig Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Big thanks to them for their ongoing support on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Hey, Adam Lavis, before I run through what's left of Week 7, have we got any updated championship points, or are we not quite there yet?
Only the pros.
We can do the pros. That'll do. Let's do the pros. top of the time sheets, top of the table, top of the leaderboard, everything else. 308 points. Matty Danch on top, clear of Richard Mitchum by 40 points at the moment. Jared Knight on 261 after that shocker in the first race here tonight. Oscar Haynes on 227, 5 points clear of Ash Collins. There's been a bit of movement on that table, as you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen. 219 for Simon Nicholson. We didn't see him tonight either. And that's with drop rounds coming into the equation as well, too, folks.
Well, actually, on that, like looking at it, it's been a very high attrition rate. We've had a lot of people doing every race. We've had like a lot of people doing, but as you look at the drop rounds gone, not many people have points.
No.
So there's been a lot of people that had at least 2 bad rounds.
That's making your job very easy, isn't it, for the next couple of weeks?
Oh, well, the spreadsheet does it for me. So.
Well, I was going to say, but if no one's got any drop rounds to burn, then yeah.
It makes your job easier because then you don't have to worry about trying to work out drop rounds.
Exactly.
When you're doing,
that's true.
When you're doing your race updates.
Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Me too. Me especially. Now, Simon Nicholson 6th. Back to David Johnson, Thomas Foster. It was Foster who was in the server and departed. Sorry, mate, we didn't get a chance to chat to you. Hopefully do so next week. Richard King and Adam Burhop, the top 10. We'll bring you the AM Split update next week. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms. The Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. The culmination of week 7 of term 2 of 2024. Night 2 is the Van Ryn Cup, of course. The up-and-comers for Leipzig Racing, Motorland Aragon and the Ferrari GT3s. 3 races for them, getting underway 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. 9:10, we're off to Monza. There's one circuit that I'd like to see on iRacing, the Mexican Grand Prix circuit. I reckon that's an absolute belter, and they've got a couple of different configurations. They've got the Formula V configuration, the Formula E configuration, and the Formula 1 configuration. So I'm all for them going to Central America and scanning the Autodromo, whatever it's called, Rodriguez, I think is the last name of it. So Mexico is on my wish list for iRacing. I think that's a ball terror of a circuit. But it's Monza on Tuesday night, for the Orbit Australia GT1 Civil War. The 7th round of that championship is a 40-minute race, getting underway 9:10 Eastern Standard Time. Porsche's on Wednesday night for the production cars. Well, production sports cars, really. Magello, the venue, 2 sprint races, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, followed by the GT4s from Spa. That'll be... what?
The Porsche Cup is the most production car of the lot. It is literally, it is literally a production car from the showroom. Everything else has mods on it.
I agree, but it's a sports car at the same time.
Well, there you go.
Circuit to Spa Francorchamps for the GT4 Challenge to follow for the Orbit Australia. That's Orbit Australia's sponsoring GT1 this time around, not GT4. GT4 Challenge, round 7 of the championship, 40 minutes Spa, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time following the production cars. Thursday night, really looking forward to this. Virginia International North for the straight inside of Formula V. 3 races there, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Then on to Watkins Glen. The classic boot without the chicane is my understanding. 40 minutes for the Sprite and Cider Wings and Slicks Super Formula Lights, 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. That one's getting underway. So 4 races on the agenda on Thursday night. Join Daniel Correa, Sarah and I for that. Friday night, join Joe Baldwin and Nick Fodiatis for the SRX NASCAR Stock Car Series, GSRC style. Chicago Street Circuit, the venue, 3 sprint races, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mountain Men continues Saturday night in the Williams FW31. 32 laps, 8 p.m. Won't take long to tear around Mount Panorama 32 times in that machine. And that is, of course, 8 p.m., not 8:30. So a bit of a change of start time there for the Mountain Men in recent weeks. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, 32 laps, the journey just a smidgen under that 200-kilometre marker. Monday night, there it is for you. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the Super 2 and Super 3 Brigade, 7:35 Eastern Standard Time. As week 8 gets underway, it'll be followed by the finals round of sprint racing for the GT3 series, thanks to Waste Options. And first up, Pro second up, sprint racing to feature and invert top 10 for that feature from Ride Atlanta. That'll bring up, that'll deliver and produce some very good racing for you, ladies and gentlemen, next Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Looking forward to that. The fourth and final sprint round of the campaign. Then it's a 60-minute in Portugal and a 90-minute race at Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, to finish off that campaign. So 3 different venues, 2 different countries, 3 different race formats in the final 3 weeks of the campaign. It's looking good. There's no doubt about that. GSRC merch.myshopify.com for all your merch requirements and desires. I've put my hand up in recent days and I said we need a GSRC hoodie. I could sit at home and broadcast in that, not a problem. They're not the sort of thing I'd wear outside the house and go and do the shopping in, but I'd definitely, on these cooler winter nights up here in Ipswich, definitely be interested in the GSRC hoodie. I've got the GSRC shirt. I like the shirt. Very nice. Probably need to work on maybe getting a stubby holder and bottle opener, but that's okay. We'll work on that as my involvement continues. We're up to, what are we now? Season... what have we had? We've had 4 years, 5, so that's season 17. Yeah, season 17 in year number 5 on the platforms of the GSRC. We have been here a while, ladies and gentlemen. It's been good fun. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we're enjoying bringing it to you. Merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com takes you to the same place. If you want to get involved with the club and want any more information about what we do here, race.tgsrci.com is where you go. Thank you, Parry Anastakis. Great to have you on board. Well done on your result in the rain tonight. And looking forward to catching up with you in due course. Thanks to everybody that tuned in at home. Thanks to Liam Banks for covering the entree tonight. Thanks to Adam Lavis for organising that while I was away with an Ipswich Jets engagement. Nice to be back, however, for the main course, even with the technical glitches beyond our control. Thanks for persevering with us through them. We don't normally get booted out of the server twice in a 37-minute race, so we've made a little bit of history tonight on the platforms of the GSRC. Not the sort we'd like to make. Let's hope that those technical grumblings disappear on Thursday night, and then, of course, whatever's gone on tonight doesn't recur. And I think there's a few drivers echoing those sentiments because they got booted out as well. The old mechanical issues of the sim world, the tech issues, reigning supreme tonight. And Matty Dent's reigning supreme as well. Too good. We had 4 different race winners in GT3 across the 2 splits tonight. Of course, 2 different races, winners across both the sprint race and the feature. So very good to see that the competition is as fierce as it's ever been, and the variety is still a driving force in the results department in Waste Options GT3. Hope you enjoyed a mega weekend of motorsport, and if you haven't already caught up with it, do yourself a favour, go and watch Indianapolis, go and watch the Coke 600 that fell foul of some wet weather at the back end of the piece. Probably don't bother with Monaco, except go and watch the replay of that first lap crash about 3 or 4 times just to get your head around it, and have a look at the world's most expensive canoe belonging to Sergio Perez. But yes, Indianapolis, well worth a look, considering that it ran until about 9:45 Eastern Standard Time this morning. A marathon effort from all involved over there. Well done to the NBC Sports crew. And well done to you for hanging in there with us tonight as well, folks. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you tonight. 1 of week 7 is done and dusted. I look forward to your company Thursday. Daniel and Liam will see you on Wednesday. Production cars and GT4 on the equation there. And then it's open wheel Thursday, the last one for the month of May. Until we meet again, on behalf of Adam Lavis, Liam Banks, all the crew here, I'm Zach Cabin, wishing you a very good night.